Ooh.
Yeah, we're
Hello.
Sasha here.
I don't look like I'm looking as far sideways.
There we go. It's because what happens is I set everybody else's stuff up and then forget to do my own. But there we go. So, welcome to the Secret Sewing Club. It is Sunday the 12th of January. And just to explain how the Secret Sewing Club works, as you can see, I have 3 lovely guests. There you go. And they will all be doing their own demonstrations. And if you like the products that you see there, you need to go to their own website to buy them. Now, to do that, you can click the QR code that's up in the corner, and that will take you directly to their website where you can buy anything that you see that you like. So, first of all, let's see who we've got today. So, Sasha, just above me. How are you?
I'm good. In January, just flying.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Absolutely mad.
It just feels like we've literally just got back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
And it's just mad.
Crazy. But it's good to be
just
back.
Mad. Excellent.
Oh,
and then Anthea.
She's putting her glasses on.
Yep, hello. Yeah, I'm deafblind nowadays. So, we put Secret Sewing Club on the thingamabob, and because it's Mike, and Mike's like not usually here, he put somebody else's Secret Sewing Club up, and I'm like, thinking, I'm sure that's not how it'll go. We're all right now, so I'm here, I'm in the room. Just trying to read some comments. Good afternoon, everybody. So, your mother's watching, Mike. She's making sure you're doing a good job. Hello, Tech.
And Maria, who's over this side.
Hello, from sunny Devon. It's really sunny outside today. It's one of those days you want to go out and for a nice long walk.
It's pretty cold though. I mean, it's sunny here, but it's pretty chilly.
Yeah, we've had a lot of snow this week as well. So it's nice to see everybody. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the afternoon.
Perfect. So let's go back round again. Sasha, what have you got for us today?
We are going to be looking at Bosal today. So we are going to be looking at in our form placemats.
So for anybody who doesn't know, what is Bosal?
So Bosal is from America. It is a interfacing and waddings company. Everybody would have heard of In Our Form. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about the 3 different strengths that they do, as I call it. The jelly roll rug, we're going to talk about that a little bit. All those things that are Bosal. And normally people always say, I'm using Bosal inside my bag. And actually they're using In Our Form. Bosal is just the company name, and people get a bit mixed up. So we're doing a little bit about Bosal and a little bit of educating today and making an easy storage box out of a placemat. Sounds interesting.
Excellent. And have you met Bosal Bob?
I have met Bosal Bob lots and lots and lots of times. So Bosal Bob is
his name is Robert, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just ran up to him. No, it's Bosal Bob.
So he is 92.
Confused.
He is 92 years old, and he is still travelling, still coming to shows, although he is slowing down a bit. He's not going to be at Stitches this year. Didn't go to a couple of the the wholesale shows in America. He didn't even go to those last year, but yeah, he's 92. And I will tell a little story. He's amazing. He is absolutely incredible, this man. And he actually started Bosal for his wife, who unfortunately we lost in COVID, Sarah Lee, and she had severe allergies when they got together many years ago. She had severe allergies, and he actually couldn't find hypoallergenic and allergy-free foams and things for things like mattresses and bedding. So he invented his own. And so he actually invented the first lot of phones for his wife, so she could sleep without breathing problems and allergy problems. I mean, that is an absolute dedication of love.
Good on Bozel Bob.
Good old Bozel Bob. He is renowned, Bozel Bob. Amazing man.
Love him. And Anthea, what have you got on today?
Me, so bags of the themes. I've got lots of them behind. I've got some of our pattern books up. But it's about clubs today. It's about sharing the love, and I've got some in our form that I can do some demonstrations on. So hopefully that will show you how good Sasha's in our form stuff is that she's got. So hopefully we'll be sharing the love.
To and froing. Excellent. And Maria, what have you got for us today?
I've got a lot of kits today because it's January and it's like the new hobby, new month. There's a lot of beginners kits that I've got. I've got the tree collection, the roundel collection, and also the butterflies. I've got a couple of butterflies as well.
But you specialise in gold work, don't you?
Yeah, it's gold work embroidery, but it's kind of freestyle gold work embroidery. It's not the traditional, which takes quite a lot of time. Yeah. And I think it puts off a lot of people who just want to begin with gold work, because I get a lot of ladies that have never tried it, find my kits really easy to learn, and then they can go on to the more complicated, sort of elements of gold work. So yeah, so I've got some nice new beginner kits. I've got some fabric as well, the tree collection fabric. So if you don't want to do the metal thread embroidery kit, you can probably buy a panel and embroider into it, as you want.
Perfect. So who's it's Anthea first today, I believe.
Yeah.
You ready?
Hayley.
Yes, my love.
Can I just do a quick shout out? So we've got a lot of people on Facebook. One of our regulars, Jeanette Chapman, she's actually watching from hospital. So we are sending her our love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope she's okay.
That face wasn't for Jeanette. That face was like there's a seagull trying to get in the window. And it's like proper up. And I was like, whoa. So I hope she gets better. Absolutely. Sorry about the terrified face.
Yeah.
But we will do some shout outs later. But I just wanted to say hi to Jeanette.
Absolutely. Well, sorry about the no makeup face as well. But because I had makeup on for Sewing Street on Friday, it just absolutely just ruins my skin. So it's having a few days off. So that's fine. We don't need makeup to do this. We're all good.
No.
So
you're lucky we're dressed.
I know. Sometimes we've done it in pajamas. Yeah, luckily we've got clothes on today. So Anthea, on that note, seeing as you're fully clothed and not flashing anybody, as I wish you were here 10 minutes before we sent the cameras live. I'll give you 3 guesses who it was that was flashing us, and we'll come back to you after, Anthea, and we'll see what the results are. Anthea, take it away.
Well, it wasn't me that was flashing, and that's for sure. There's things that you don't need to see in your life, and yeah. So welcome everybody, and my first visit here of 2025. So yeah, welcome. And what I want to talk to you about today is Quilting Antics. This year we're all about community, and we're all about building that community. So I've got a few things that I wanted to share with you. Now, first of all, and I'm like a broken record with this, the first bit to touch with our community is Block of the Month. We do several Block of the Month programs. Now, on my website, the Quilting Antics website, there's a row of blue buttons down the side. We've got Secret Sewing Club at the top today, and further down there's Block of the Month. Now, in the Secret Sewing Club button, there are some Block of the Months. Further down in the Block of the Month, there's all of them. So I think there's 3, 4, I think, that I've put for Secret Sewing Club because there are newer ones, but altogether there's up to about 15 that you can choose if you want. So the really important reason that I want to I want to talk about the Block of the Month is because when I was doing Create and Craft, lots of you were joined in to our Block of the Month, and it stopped. And I know there's lots of you that have got part way through quilts and haven't carried them on. So if you're watching and you're thinking, oh, cripes, that's me, and I was really miffed off because I've invested all that money in a wool quilt and we've only got half of it, get in touch, because we can, you know, complete your subscription from wherever you got to. So just get in touch. The best way to get me is on Facebook Messenger, because I'm not going to lie, I'm rubbish on email. Facebook Messenger pings in my face and I've got to deal with that. So that's the best way to get in touch. So if you were left high and dry, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Block of the month, get in touch and we can sort you out. If you've never done a block of the month before, now bear in mind we work with wool, which is expensive. It's a really good way to make a wool quilt, to make an expensive quilt in bite-sized chunks. And what I would do is you go on the website, you decide which one you want to do. You buy the first block. So it looks a bit weird on the website because you've got the book, which is a nice picture. So let me show you. This isn't a block of the month book. So you get a nice picture of a book front. That's your book. And then if it's one that's got the full kit for sale, you might get a whole picture. But the block of the month option, you're just seeing a snapshot of it, because I'm kind of just saying this is a section and you're buying it section by section. So what you would do is you would just buy your first block. I receive your order, and then what I do is I cut your whole quilt out for you, all your blocks, and put them to one side. And then each time you're ready for a new block, you come onto my website, you buy in exactly the same way, but in the comments bar, you just write which block you're up to. I go in your bag, get out your block and send it off. And that way, if you work quite quickly and you want to do more than one block a month, you can. If you work slow and you want to do one block every other month, you can. If you're doing a block every month and then you hit a blip and a big bill comes in, you can pause, you can carry on. So it's there and you just carry on. I mean, if you change your mind halfway through, just let me know, and it's no problem. So because I can then assign them to the next person. But the beauty of me cutting all in one thing is if I have to make any changes, which is rare and you probably wouldn't even be able to tell, the change is consistent throughout all your blocks. So I wouldn't get halfway through and think, oh, cripes, I've run out that blue, I'll change, because that will have all been addressed right at the start. So that's our first community point of contact, is block of the month. Now, also, if you look, they're all in the Secret Sewing Club tab on our website. So the top blue button, we've got other kinds of clubs. So we've got, well, our courses, our classes, that is a club. And I've got, oh heck, where's it gone? I've got a bag down here. Mike, where's it gone? Oops. Mike, I think it might be, you see where that black bin bag is there? The box underneath the top bag. Could you, apologies, I thought I'd put the sample I wanted just here by my knee, but I think that's the one. I may be too efficient.
Just while you're finding
Okay.
stuff, we've had an update from Jeanette, who's the lady who was watching in hospital. She said she's now got a few ladies watching in hospital, as they couldn't resist asking what she was watching.
Welcome. Welcome, everyone.
We'll have everybody.
Yeah, we'll have you all. You're welcome. Get in the club. So, because part of the Quilting Antics thing is community. So, excuse me, rattling near the microphone. Dump that there. So tomorrow we are doing a class. It's probably a bit late now to get onto tomorrow's class, but I'll show you anyway. We're doing an exploding box, which is a twee box. That's its proper posh name. You take the lid off and all the sides don't work very well when you stood up in the air. All the sides fall down and give you this nice flat working area. And then when you're done, you lift it all back up. Now, we've used it for sewing equipment. You could use it for quickie gift. How cool if you've made a handmade gift and you put it in there, your loved one, whoever, takes the lid off and just down it comes. I mean, it won't go shh. It's in real life. It's just like my sound effect. So that's tomorrow's class. We're doing that. And I've just put dates up for this messenger bag. And I want to show you this on 2 counts. So the first one is, we've just launched it as a class. There's 2 dates for this. There is Monday the 24th of February and Saturday the 1st of March. When I asked people what they wanted, what day of the week, there was a split decision between weekday and weekend. So you get to decorate this lovely bag, get the flap done, and then you would actually, oops, my bag fastener's a bit too tough. You would make the bag as well. So, so that class is there. That's just gone live on the website. Now on the website, the option is for the pattern without a kit. But if you want a kit, send me a message, Facebook Messenger, and I can do a kit either just for the applique on the front, or, you know, the applique with some grey. Fabrics may vary, but I can do that, and I'll give you the price on inquiry. It was just too much information to put the whole lot on one website option, because I thought people are going to think that they're going to be paying a small amount and getting the big kit, or they might think I'm going to sneakily bill you for the big bits. So I just kept it simple. If you want the kit, just message me and we can sort that out. So this is the Escape to the Country bag, which we will be doing as a class end of February. So Monday the 24th and Saturday the 1st of March. Now, the reason this is coming out as a class in March, well, end February, March, is one of the other options that you can join is our Tweed Bag Club. And how that works is you pay £19.95 a month for 3 months, and on the 3rd month we make a bag. And this was the November bag. So by the time you're doing this as a class, our bag club will have already made their next bag. So it's just a nice way. Again, it's you know, it's a good way to pay for something that's not as cheap as maybe you're used to expecting. So we're doing a bag club, and then we've got our tweed clubs. Now I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what's gone out this month, because I know people have opened it because they've got back in touch. I'm not holding up the right sizes because we've got 2 clubs going on this month. Both clubs got the same fabric, although if one person was in both clubs, you'd get different. So we're doing a small tweed club, which is £19.95, and for that you will get the equivalent of a fat quarter of tweed. Now, a fat quarter, it might mean that you're going to get one of our Charisma packs, of which we've got. That's our wool version of a charm pack. You might get 1 fat quarter, you might get 2 eighths, you might get 4 10-inch squares, you might get any variation that comes to about a fat quarter, and it'll be different every month. And you also get 1 pattern, and it will be one of our more recent patterns, so there's less chance that you already have it. So for the small one at £19.95 this month, they got 1/8 of a metre of the O'Donnell, 1/8 of a metre of the lemon, and 1 pattern. It wasn't necessarily this one, but they got 1 pattern. And then for the large tweed club, which was £39.95, they got a fat quarter of this lemon, a fat quarter of the O'Donnell, and they got 3 patterns. You also get, as part of all the clubs, you get a discount code so that you can go on our website and you can buy things at a discount. So I mean, if you tot up the value, you're getting, these should be £25 a quarter, and you're getting the 19.9 or whatever. Well, I'm just going to round it off, £20 a quarter. So you're saving a £5 per quarter. The patterns are £8.50 each. So on the large tweed club, that's 8, 16, 24, £25.50 in patterns. Well, you've paid almost half, well, over your subscription in patterns before you even start on your wool. So it's a really good way to extend your collection. And if you want to sample wool, it's a good way to try. The thing about the wool in the tweed club is I put the good ones in. Now, they're all good, so disregard that I said it like that. It's the ones that never make it to remnant sales. So you would never get these 2 in our remnant sales that we do from time to time, because we use these down to the absolute nth degree. So it's the better stuff, the better selections, the ones that we use over and over again in lots of our different designs. So I'm glancing down here, and by fluke, I haven't used any of these in the 3 patterns that I held up. That's just what they call sod's law. So that's our tweed clubs. We've got the small tweed club with 1 pattern, the large tweed club with 3 patterns, or the bag club, and it's a secret, it's a surprise every time. You don't know what you're making, but what we do is listen to what you want and we design accordingly. So at the point where your bag comes out in the tweed club, it's exclusive. It hasn't been anywhere else, and this one isn't on general sale yet. It did its bag club in November. The bag club group will do another one in the mid-February, and this isn't going to come out until after that. So you're quite a way in front. You're at least two quarters in front if you're in the club. So that's quite nice if you're a person that likes to be ahead and at the front. And also you're going to get a hand in designing, because you can say, well, I want a crossbody bag and I want it to do this, or I want applique themes on that, or could you do something in heather colours or anything like that? And I'm listening and I'm going, oh, well, you want that style bag and you want heather colours, so maybe we mix these up together. And you see where I'm going. So all the time I'm trying to design with you in mind and trying to do it how you want. So that's all the clubs. Where are we? Can I just give those to you, Mike?
Yeah. I know you've got a couple more bits that you want to do, but your camera for some reason is very, very pixelated. So I wondered if you could grab a minute or two maybe to just before you get into demos and things, and we can't see it as well.
Well, I agree. As I'm looking on the iPad, it's pixelated, but as I'm looking at the one in the room, it's as clear as well.
So what I'm wondering is it possible, because I know you've got some more bits and pieces you want to do, but I think for demo wise it would be really great if we could maybe tweak
Tech Junior's just on the case.
Excellent.
Is that any better?
Do you want to come back to it'll take a little while to come through. Have you still got some clubs you want to go through, or do you want to head back together?
Well, I've got a couple more bits, but I am almost at the end.
Okay. Well, do you want to go for it, and then
let's go for it.
If he needs for you to be offline to do your bits.
Let's go for it, because whatever I'm telling you here, you can see on the website anyway. So if you're interested in what I'm saying, you're going to be looking on the website anyway, and you're going to get the clearer images. So let's just go for it. Right, what else have I got on the show today? I have put some wool fat quarters. Now these are pre-cut, so if you order 2, it will come as 2 fat quarters. But there's some of your favourites in here. So we've got spotties. So we've got the grey spot, which is it's uncoordinated self inside. We've got the lime spot. Again, look on the website and you'll see the clearer images. So that's the flip side of that one. We've got the beige spot, which if I open it up, that's the flip side of the beige. And then we've got the grey multi-check, which is quite trendy. We've got the lime.
Up your website, Anthea. Unfortunately, they won't.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Let's do that.
They'll be able to hear me.
Let's
do that. To hear you, and I'll show them all of those tweets on your behalf.
Well, can you make sure that people know?
Certainly. Okay, so Anthea's feeding information to me, and I shall relay it to you. There's those charisma packs at the top there. You can see those with a beautiful array of colours that all tone in. Then the multi-check ones, they're, am I right in saying £5 cheaper on the website? It should be $24.99. They're $19.99, so they're £5 cheaper on Anthea's website there. But they are only available as fat quarters. They're pre-cut as fat quarters. So if you order 2, it will come as 2 fat quarters. It won't come as a ½ metre piece. But there you can see you've got, on the bottom line, the Tokyo Heather. Let me just bring that one up so it's a little bit bigger. Okay, so this one hasn't got a huge amount left, and apparently Anthea's feeding to me that it has been discontinued. So if you do want that one, you will have to be quick, because that is all that she's got left on that one. Right, I will bring you back. There you go. We've had a look at your beautiful tweets. And you're back in the room, my love.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm not sure what we're doing with cameras because on our thing here it's as clear as a bell, Haley. So
Yeah, but
I'm wondering if it's something...
unfortunately, coming through to me, you're not. You're a bit grainy on the
Yeah.
the platform that we use to get you together. It's grainy on there, and then it's grainy.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, we'll jump everybody back together, and then we'll have a little
Okay.
chat, and then you can have a look and see if it might be internet
Yeah.
speed.
Before we jump back, can I do the last one,
course
which
you can.
is also on the website? So this time I've brought some bag hardware from Empress Mills, and it's all trim stuff. So there's 5 different things, which is going to be difficult on a pixelated screen. The colours will vary, but we've got D-rings, we've got the magnetic fastener, we've got the gorgeous snap hooks and base nails, turn clasp, and 2.5 meters of black webbing. So if you're a bag maker, it's kind of a complete bag making set. We're going to come back and have a demo on how you use that stuff. But just to make you aware that this stuff is here. So you've got base nail, D-rings, and several different closures there, different ways of fastening your bag. So yeah, I think I've covered everything there.
There we go. It might be something to do with your upload rate of your web stuff. So have a little look at that and see if he can make it a little bit better. Sasha, I see you're underway doing some jiggery pokery there. Let me just unmute you guys. There you go.
I am.
Is this preparing for yours? Because you're not next, are you? I think on my list.
No, I like to go last because I'm never organised.
Yeah, I think I was on the 2:30 or something.
It buys you an extra. You extra few minutes. I mean,
just so you know, if anybody is on with me, it will go out the window because I will end up going last because I'm never organised.
I shall tell that to Emma. I shall say always put Sasha last in the running order. But mind you, the running order is a very kind of loose construct, isn't it? Because we never run to time. There's always information or chatting or just stuff. So I do have some messages. Everybody has already guessed who the flasher was.
Apparently,
Patricia...
I've now known it's Sasha the Flasher.
Because you keep doing it, woman. It's like a regular recurrence.
The first time was an accident. That was a... Actually, they were all accidents, so don't come on.
That time today wasn't. You purposefully flashed today.
I was just showing off my weight loss amongst friends. I'm proud.
You're looking good.
Anthea. Patricia loves the spot fabric. And Janet says, stop showing me beautiful pieces of fabric while she's trying to see teddy bear fabric. So, anyway. Let me have a look. Yeah, there's lots of people just saying afternoon and things like that. And somebody has commented on your picture, Anthea, which, again, I think because the overhead's looking a little bit pixelated as well, I think it might be worth like a router restart or something to see if you can get that up. But what I'll do is
we will do that.
If Maria's ready, I'll pass it over to Maria.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We can fix Anthea while Maria's doing her thing. Are you ready, Maria?
Okay.
Excellent.
So,
over to you.
I'm going to start with trees. I actually illustrated these trees, and they were printed last August. And from the trees, I made 4 kits, which were really successful. I've only got a few left, and they're actually a really good price. So if you are a beginner and you want to start out doing some goldwork embroidery, it's really probably well worth picking up one of these kits today. They come in a pack with all your instructions. That's the copper birch, which is really, really nice. The summer aspen. I think I did some of the summer aspen on the last month on the Secret Sewing Club. Black pine. I've only got 2 of these left. So black pine's been the most popular. And today I'm going to do the cherry blossom, which is really pretty, which is the spring apple blossom. cherry. So I'm going to actually demonstrate this in a moment. I'm going to switch cameras now, just so then we can sort of see my overhead. So just be a few seconds, hopefully. There you go. Now that should be on there. Can you see it, everybody?
Yeah, we've got that. That's perfect.
Right. So the instructions come in a full colour sort of version, and it's actually in step by step. So step 1, we talk about passing threads, which is what I'm going to demo in a moment. Step 2 is your French knots, which is probably all the lovely texture that you're going to put into the branches. And then the chipping and the purl. So when you get your pack, you're going to have some beautiful variegated pink thread. It goes from cerise to a lovely pale pink, and it's in 6 strands. You only need 1 strand, which then you put onto your needle and actually knot it at the end. And then I'm going to show you how to use this lovely parson thread, which is really, really nice. This is actually a gold twist, which I can just sort of see in the light. It's got lovely gold thread through it, and it's really, really flexible. It's not as stiff as most of the pattern threads. So I'm going to take about...
Careful of your mic. I think you're knocking it as you're just leaning forward there.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah. It's just, I think it's just rustling a little bit as you're leaning forward. So just...
Oh, right, okay.
If you can just watch it a little bit, that'd be great. Thank you.
I will do. There's probably everything getting in my way, my hair probably. So I'll just move my hair, yeah. So you only need a little short piece, because what you're going to do is you're going to literally couch this onto the branches. Now, the nice thing about these kits is it's pretty much a freestyle, even though you can copy it, it's identical if you want to, but it's pretty much a freestyle sort of stitching, couching onto branches. So you can put in as little as you want or as more as you want, and you get a lot in the kit. You get about 3 meters of each thread. So I'm going to just cut a little piece. And I like to sort of sometimes fray the ends a bit, so you can actually then just literally manipulate the ends, fray them out, which again, it gives it more texture inside some of the branches.
So does that thread contain a wire or something to keep it?
Yeah, it's a gold twist. It's fine wire, so it's not as flexible or as rigid as some of the threads, but it is actually still got some beautiful, like when you're couching it, you can turn it and you can keep in place, which is really lovely.
And is that included within the kit?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. In the kit, you get about 3 meters of each color. Everything you need is in the kit. And there's more. I always put more in my kits than you should.
And obviously the kit can be found on your website. Obviously the QR code.
Yeah, this is the cherry blossom.
Yeah. And how much is the kit?
They're all $19.99 today, which is like half price. But there are the last of the few. So I think it's only about probably 6 of this one left. So if you want it, you need to be pretty quick. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I've just threaded up my normal thread, which is a black thread. So you won't be able to see any of your stitching. And literally you're coming up and you're couching over your thread to hold it in place. And again, as I say, it's pretty much freestyle, so you don't really need to worry about sticking to lines. You could bring it over a bit more over here.
So how did you first start this, Maria?
I started in 2020 as because of lockdown. And what happened was I was at university studying conservation stitching textiles, because my background is stitching and textiles, printed textiles, hence why I actually do my own fabric designs as well. So I actually did these illustrations during lockdown, and I just thought they'd be really lovely later on to make into an embroidery kit. So I got these printed last year, because I've got loads and loads of illustrations and paintings that I've done through my textile design work. And then I decided to learn goldwork embroidery as part of my conservation, because I was technically looking at the deterioration of metal thread embroidery and how it can deteriorate, especially old objects. There's a beautiful dress, it's Kettleston Hall. It's called the Peacock dress, and it's just made of metal threads, and it's absolutely stunning. So if you ever do get a chance, if you go to the National Trust House in Derbyshire, you can see it, and it's actually beautiful. So I did my dissertation basically on metal thread embroidery, and it goes back to about 1200 BC, because a lot of the churches, military costume.
So then you've just
It's all
got the
like,
bug, and you're kind of just
yeah.
modernising some of the techniques.
So I end up selling the threads as well, because I have to buy them in for the kits. So again, on my website, if you just want to even just try maybe buying the fabric panels on their own, and then buying some threads, you know, you can sort of have a go. It's never wrong or right, so you should never be afraid of sort of just having a play, really. And I was just looking at what Anthea's bag. I love that country scene one. Again, you could use some of the metal threads in that, which would be really
absolutely. I mean,
lovely.
obviously, because Anthea is going on to wool, it's quite a nice kind of sturdy background. It will take
Yeah.
a good bit of embroidery on there if you wanted to embellish it.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that. That was absolutely stunning. So yeah, basically this is how easy it is, and it's
So
quite
can you just
mindful. So I made it nighttime.
Can you just explain that
Yeah.
couching stitch that you're doing there while you're just
Yeah.
finishing that?
So basically, when you couch stitch, yeah, you don't need to be so close together either. So you can sort of just do it every 2 millimeters along the thread. You don't need to couch so close.
And
It's
what
just where you
is
want it to be.
how would you
Sorry.
best describe the couching stitch? Because unfortunately we're not quite close enough to see exactly what you're doing
Oh,
there.
right. Okay. Let's try and see if I can get.
We're thinking about it.
I'll try. Yeah, on the next.
Yeah,
I'll try and get it
adjust it
closer.
in between. But essentially, what couching
Yeah.
is you've got a piece of thread that's
Couching
laid on
stitch.
top of the fabric, and then you're using
Yeah.
another separate piece of thread to create loops over the top of
Yeah.
that
So what I
first
do
piece of
is,
thread to kind of hold it down into position.
yeah, that's right. So what I use is like a Gutterman thread, which is quite a strong thread, and double thread that onto the needle, so you don't lose your needle either. And then what you're doing is you're basically, because metal threads don't go through the fabric, not like normal embroidery. So what you have to do is you actually have to adhere it to the top surface. So all I do is just bringing this thread over and just holding this into place. And that is basically the principle of goldwork embroidery.
So
You
it's
don't
almost
go
like
through
a
the fabric.
little kind of, when you've got a cable and
Yeah,
those little white clips with the little nails to put it kind of
yeah,
into the wall. It's like that.
that's
but
it. That's brilliant. Yeah,
with thread.
that's it
You just
exactly. That's really
every
well.
so often you just popping one of those
Yeah,
little nails in just to hold it in the position that you want it in.
that's right. Exactly. I mean, that's that's actually well said. That.
Thanks. It's not often
Really good.
that I am very good at
No,
things,
it's
but I'll
good.
take that one.
And again, you can actually then, make your frays on the ends to give it a bit more texture. So that's how easy these kits are. This is just step 1,
And do they?
which is
is
called.
it all couching, or how many stitches are in that particular kit?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what was it.
How many stitches are involved in that kit? Is it all couching, or are there other
No,
stitches
no.
involved?
Basically, the next one I was going to demo was the French knots, which you've probably seen a few times anyway. And then there's also some metal thread embroidery. So you chip in little tiny pieces of metal thread as well. So the metal threads come in the kits. like this.
Oh, so the
And
metal
that's
thread
actually,
comes in colours as well.
yeah, it comes in colours. So when I put my kits together, I always try and source the colours that are relevant. So this was like, I needed some pink, so I bought the pink in. But you can also buy in all different kinds of colours, like the reds, oranges, which is used in the copper birch tree one. So all I do with these is then chip these like beads. So these actually will cut with your scissors. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're a coil. Basically, they're like a coil, and you can actually pull them apart as well, and you can twist them, stitch them into into your threads. So you can actually put a bit more texture.
You can
Yeah,
effectively create
basically you
your
can
own
stitch that piece.
beads then to stitch in.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. So what you can do is, if you wanted to, just put this is your last step in the kit, is actually use the metal threads last. Reason being is because it can actually then get caught onto other threads. So always use them last. You can
So
sew them in.
would it be as you did it there? You'd put your French knots in with your pink thread first, your pink variegated, then
That's right.
couch in the branches and the roots, and then
Yeah,
finally add the pink and red metal thread.
that's right. Yeah, and then you just pick that up and then just push them in and sew them in. So you get a bit more texture in between your French knots.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's basically, that's the kit.
So which
The other kits,
yeah, do you want to show us the other kits you've
yeah.
got on, and then I'll go, because Anthea's wandered off, so
Oh, right. Okay.
can't
Well,
go back
again,
together yet because we don't know where Anthea is.
the most popular one was this black pine. It's actually a tree in the National Trust Gardens called black pine. And in the winter, the branches tend to curl. So again, using the metal threads, this is just the wire. This is wire, metal couching. It's more rigid, and you pull this apart, so you get more teeth into it. And literally, you'll stitch that on top. Again, you couch that over into the actual piece. But this is the black pine one, and there's a lot of nice textures that you're going to put into the base of
And
it.
tree kits are, once they're gone, are they gone, or is that something you're going to repeat
Yeah,
in the future?
yeah. Basically, they're the last of them now. Yeah, I may get them again, but I don't know. Not for the future,
Not
because
for
I've
a
got a new
while.
collection coming out.
Oh,
Which is,
brilliant. If there's new stuff
yeah, not
coming,
for a
then
while.
great. We'll have new stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've got some lovely prairie garden stuff coming as well, done in the same principle, but just a different design. So this was the summer kit. This is the one that I actually demoed at Christmas, I think it was, wasn't it, on the 23rd? And I was showing you about the textures that go into the trunk and chipping again. All the kits are great for beginners, all got the
So
same
are they
principles,
all
really.
based around those three main stitches?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that, when we get those, I'll go back just on the other
Yeah, if you just
camera.
want to quickly
Yeah,
show us the other kits and let us
yeah,
remember
I'll
that
just show you.
obviously people are buying directly through you, so you need to give
That's
them
it.
the prices as well, because
Yeah.
we don't
So
have
again,
a
you've
proper
got the
presenter.
summer raspberry. Again, full instructions. We've got the stitch guide. Always put a stitch guide in, and then you've got these beautiful instructions. They're all in colour, and then it gives you some of the textures, the techniques as well. The summer aspen panel comes like that in the kit, so it's already done for you. There's no colouring or anything like that, and you're getting your panel, you're getting the lovely texture bits that go onto the bark. There's about 1/2 metre of those, plus your threads. Try and get your threads out here. And your needle. You all get needles inside them as well. So you've got all your
Perfect. Well,
variegated threads.
if you're ready to come back together, I'll go and grab the other guys, and then we can.
Yeah.
Whenever you've got other kits, and you've got butterfly kits, and you've got your roundel kits as well, but we've still got a couple of demos for you, so we'll probably pop to see those in a second. Let me see. Anthea, check. Sasha, check. Everybody together. Let me just reactivate your microphones. Splendid. Back in the room. Are you all good?
Yay!
Yay. Okay.
I've got a question on Facebook, Hayley.
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Do you use a stabilizer under your fabric?
Oh, so that's for Maria.
Yes.
Oh. Was that for me?
Yes.
Yes.
The question's for you.
Yeah, you can actually use a stabilizer if you want to. It depends on what you're going to do with it afterwards. If you're using a hoop and you're going to keep it in the hoop, then you don't really need the stabilizer. You just basically use the hoop and keep it in the hoop. But I usually use a very fine wadding or a fine, is it Visline? I use that paper as well.
Right.
Then that
Like
will
tear away
actually
stabilizer kind of thing.
yeah. And you can make a cushion with that then, or
Do you know what?
you can make something.
I've got
a bag.
everything that we had on Sewing Street still in the car, so I might run down and grab that because I think there's a couple of things there that would probably be perfect for what you're after. So
Yeah.
at some point, when Sasha's in full flow, I will. I've never done this where I've actually fully ran away, so I might go do that and run down to the car, and then I can go and get you some various battings and waddings and stabilizers, and I'm sure one of those will be perfect for what you're on about.
Yeah.
So, Sasha, let me have a look.
I'm dressed. I'm okay.
Excellent. Oh, there is another question from Maria as well. How far apart are your couching stitches?
About 2 millimeters, 1 to 2 millimeters. Okay. You can do them 5 to 10 and then go back again, which actually sometimes then secures and gives you a bit more strength to the, actual threads.
Perfect. Okay. And Rosie has said, "Hi everyone, New Year challenge. I've just started to have a go at Quilt As You Go," which is Nicola, who I think might be on next week. Actually, I'll check that. Using K Facet collection that she bought from C&C. Well done for actually receiving it. So, I know. Well, we're past the angry stage now, and we're now just, I think, at the stage where we're just talking about it just a little bit about it.
Just delirious laughter.
We'll get there. We'll all get there in the end. Right, Sasha. This is a silly question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, over to you. Right, you must behave yourself though for a whole 3 minutes because I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go outside, run down.
I might get another gold star.
Will you?
Yeah.
You can have one for doing the jobs.
Hayley going to the car when I'm on. This is going to be good.
It's risky. I have picked the riskiest person for this adventure, but
it's going to be good.
Okay, I'm leaving you to it.
Bye. Right, let me just move that camera down a little bit so you can actually see. So we're going to be looking at Bosal in our form. Now, these are pre-cut shapes, okay? They are 12.5 by about 18.25 inches. And these make for a really, really easy placemat. Now, you are getting 4 in the pack. Some people might have the original pattern to this. If you have, that is absolutely brilliant. You can find the pattern online, or you can just do it really, really easily. There is a couple of ways to do it, which I'm going to go through. But first of all, in our form. Now, there are, in our form, if you've never heard of it before, is a foam. It's a foam that goes inside your items to provide structure. Now, obviously, being the Bosal ambassador, I'm a bit geeky. I love all the tech that goes behind the Bosal product, and I've used it for many, many, many years. The placemats are not just placemats, okay? They have got a scalloped pre-cut, okay? Now, there are a couple of ways you can finish this. You can either finish it with a zigzag stitch. So all you need to do is fuse a piece of fabric to the front, fuse a piece of fabric to the back, do a zigzag stitch right the way around, add a name, and your placemat is done. Or you can do it how the pattern shows you, which obviously I can't show you because it is an actual pattern and I haven't got them to sell at the moment. Whereas you fuse your fabric to the front, you're then going to have a piece of fabric on the back, and with a hole in, you're going to then turn it through and you'll sew around the scalloped edges. Really, really easy, really, really nice to do as a placemat. Great one to do with the kids as well, because they can put a name on there, you can put different applique on there, anything like that. So inner form is, as I was saying, it is a foam. It is a foam that goes inside to provide structure, and basically it will make your bags stand up. It will provide structure for boxes. You can use it for clothing. A lot of textile artists use it in mixed media. So many different things that you can actually use with it. And you can get 3 different varieties of inner form. So there is a sew-in version where you have to sew it, quilt it into your actual fabric, so everything stays together. There is a single-sided variation, which is, as it says, it is fusible on one side, the other side isn't. So the advantage of buying single-sided is that you can either choose to either do it as a fusible project or a sewing project. And then you have the double-sided. Now the placemats are double-sided, okay? These are double-sided fusible, so it means that you can fuse on both sides. The very clever thing about double-sided inner form is that when you're fusing onto the top, the actual glue on the bottom, if you've got the temperature correct, doesn't melt. It's very, very clever. The tech involved is very clever, and basically it only melts when direct heat is applied to it. So going back to the whole Bosal, we do many different things. There's craft text, which we're going to be looking at one week. There's lots and lots of different waddings. There's loads of dressmaking interfacings. There's a 2.5-inch square grid, which we're going to be looking at a bit later on, which you can do for all your watercolour pictures, things like that. But if you haven't used inner form before, this is a great way of buying it, because inner form at the moment is a bit spenny, okay? And what I mean by that, it is a bit expensive at the moment. Obviously, we've had issues with the oil prices, and inner form contains oil, and getting it made and things like that. So it is very limited as well as to where people can get it. Now, I'm fortunate, I have got stock of inner form. I know not many people do at the moment, but I do have stock of the single-sided on a roll and the sew-in, okay? I think I might have some double-sided, but I am not sure.
Sasha,
So again,
just before you start your demo there, you might need to refocus your camera. You've gone a bit fuzzy, my love.
have I gone fuzzy? Right,
You've gone
hang
a
on.
little bit fuzzy, my love. But yeah, if you can have just a little refocus. Yeah, you see it fine when you're close up, but it's not. But I know what you need to do. You need to kind of touch it while you're sitting down, but you can't do that because.
Is that better?
I'll give it a minute.
Give it a minute and see if it comes
carry
back.
on. It should work itself out.
Hopefully it will come back. Oh, I think it might have sorted itself.
Oh, there you go. That did it. Perfect.
In your pack, you will get 4 placemats, okay? And as I was saying, the size, did I get it right? 12.5 by 18.25. Yes. It's double-sided, fusible, and you can use bias binding on the ends. You can use whatever, okay? Whatever you decide. But basically, this is a bit of an education-y one today. So, placemat as so. Or, if you have the pattern, you can also turn it into a nice little clutch bag as well. There is a pattern out there to actually turn it into a clutch, which is also a really nice one. especially if you have some of the hardware that Anthea is selling as well. It's a really good one to make into a clutch, and you're not having to worry about cutting those scalloped edges. Cutting scalloped edges are an absolute nightmare. It's done for you. The other thing that you can actually do with it is turn it into a storage box, which is one of the things that we're going to be doing. So let's look at fusing. Now, there are so many different ways that people tell you how to fuse, okay? We're not going to get into the whole domestics of how we fuse. I'm just going to tell you how I fuse, how I prefer to fuse, because it works for me. Now, I do not apply any steam when I am fusing. Just Sasha flashing. Don't say that, I'll get into trouble. I've been good. I don't apply any steam when I'm fusing. Now, there is a reason to this. This foam, okay, if you are spraying it or making it damp with steam, it has a, it will soak in the steam, which can make the inside damp, and then it's quite difficult for it to dry out, and you're putting another fabric on it, and then when you quilt it, it can be a bit damp, and you're taking that to your sewing machine. So I do not use any steam when I'm fusing. There is no right, there is no wrong. It is absolutely up to you how you decide that you want to fuse, but this is how I do it. Now, if you do choose to steam your in-our form, I would always place something over the top, because again, you don't want that steam, that dampness going into your foam. Okay, you can wash it, you can dry it, you can do all of that, obviously, but I just find that the steam, you don't want to then take a sort of it's not wet, but it's a damp in-our form over to your sewing machine and then start stitching on it. So you're going to lay your fabric on the top of your in-our form. I'm just going to move that down slightly. I might have messed up my camera again now, but let's just see what happens. You're going to lay your fabric on top, and you can put something underneath if you want to, but you don't have to. And you're going to do a holding motion. Now, that's really, really important, okay? It is really, really important to do a hold and a lift. Okay, there we go. It's starting to fuse. And you're going to do that all over. And the reason is the glue melts by doing direct heat onto that foam. I've got this fabric at the moment on the website, Janet, and everyone's been going absolutely mad for it. It is my favourite fabric.
Is that the mini Tula Pink Aliso?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got big iron energy, that, hasn't it?
It's got an amazing iron. Now, I don't know about you, but it was one of the last things that I was ever given from Creating Craft. So there we go. I did get something.
No, we've bought in 3 or 4 for the shop. So we
have you?
Yeah, we've got a few. They're not on the website, but we've got them in the shop at the minute. But if somebody does want one, they can email us and we can help.
They are amazing, and I love this little light.
Oh, yeah, the torch bit is brilliant. But I know you're not using steam there, but it has like
powerful.
That's what I mean. Big iron energy. It's just got like full steam on a tiny weeny iron.
I mean, we both took it on and we were both selling, weren't we? We were both selling it, and you would not believe we were literally going like this, and the steam was actually moving the fabric.
It was shooting across the room. It was amazing.
It was brilliant. So as you can see, we are fused. Now we do a holding motion. We don't do a ironing motion. So we are going to do a press motion, and we lift, and we press, and we lift, and you do that all the way around the edges to make sure that you are nicely fused. And then you can go over and give it a really nice iron. because what sometimes happens is if you go straight in when you are fusing and do this, the heat isn't melting the glue. It is just making it a little bit sticky, and that's why people sometimes have a problem getting it to fuse. So you're going to do that hold motion, hold and press. Now, as you can see, the glue doesn't melt.
Thanks, that's it. It'll go in a minute.
Have I come back on?
Yeah. It's just for some reason
it doesn't like that position, does it?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't, because it's beautifully clear at some point, and then all of a sudden it'll get. It's kind of, it wants to focus on something more closer to you.
So it's really important that you get the fusing right, because the one question that I get the majority of the time is about fusing, and people say it's not sticking, and it's because you're just going over like this, and all that's happening is you're just giving that fusibility a bit of a tickle. You're not making it fuse, you're not making it stick, okay? And if you are doing it correct, that glue on the underside doesn't melt. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to roughly cut some of this excess away, and then you can actually make sure that you have fused around all those edges properly. I know that I've just got a couple of edges that I just need to make sure. And because this is a scalloped edge, you want to make sure that you are really nicely fused right the way round. Now the 2.5-inch grid will be put on the website in the next when I have the next break, because I want to get the grid on there so we can look at that in a little bit. Now, can you imagine if you had this as a, we're going to cut this really, really quickly. If you had this as a placemat, how beautiful would they be with these butterflies on here? And because we are not turning through, and you can do bias binding if you wanted to, but I quite like a decorative zigzag or blanket stitch around the edges. So we're just going to cut this. Now, once you have cut this precisely, you're then going to fuse the back on. Now, have we got any questions about, if you've got any questions about Bosal or fusing, pop it on while I'm trimming and cutting.
So, I have a question. Is that double-sided sticky, or is it just at the back?
Where were you two in the beginning?
Me?
Yeah, where did you go in the beginning? I explained all this.
Oh, I went to the car. I told you, I trusted you. I put my entire faith in Sasha not to fluff it up while I went to the car, because I was on my best behaviour. The stabilizers and things.
So these placemats, Hayley, are double-sided fusible.
So how does it not stick to your board while you're sticking the first side on?
Because that is the tech that is behind in our form. That's what makes it so special to any other fusing product. There's nothing like it. So what actually happens is, like here, the only way that glue melts on the back is if you have got direct contact. This glue will only melt if you have direct contact with the glue. If you are using the correct temperature, okay, we're not on about scorching hot like the sun, because you don't want that. You want to have it on a nice sort of medium to 3/4 heat. And as you can see, that glue does not melt. It is very, very clever technology that Bob has invented, and there is nothing out there like it. It really is.
I do have an update from Jeanette, who was the lady who was watching in hospital.
Yeah.
She says they're having a great afternoon. She's cheered everyone up, and just hoping that the phone lasts the distance.
Oh, bless her. Bless her.
So there you go. With public service, we've cheered up part of a hospital ward.
Yeah, I've definitely got to keep my clothes on now, ain't I? I can't flash now. Goodness me.
Is this just going to be a thing now? We kind of.
I think
like
it's just what I'm known as. It's what made me laugh is the fact that they didn't even say Sasha. Someone was saying, "Don't tell me Mother Christmas."
Yes, I know. You've got a reputation now, I think.
I was at a very good charity event. Do you know what I mean? I was doing my good for, even if it wasn't Anne Summers' Mother Christmas outfit, it did the job.
It's like, do you remember South Park, where at some point in every episode they killed Kenny? It's like that. Maybe they said at some point in every Secret Sewing episode, Sasha will flash you.
That's why we're getting so many other husbands and wives that don't craft, that watches.
Maybe that's it.
It's a whole different story.
Yes.
So there is some really, really clever tech when it comes to this Bosal product. Now, if you've ever used Duet Fuse before, which we're going to use next time I'm on, that is a polyester double-sided wadding, and it will melt. Okay, the only thing that makes it not melt is the fact that it's in our form. It's very, very special glue that's on here. Yeah, very, very clever. But people get more problems with the whole fusing, and it's because they're not doing it correctly. They're not doing it correctly. So I'm just going to go back over this because I noticed just in the middle.
Did you have a flappy corner?
I have. I've got a flappy edge, and that's never ever good. So again, always remember it's your press and hold technique to begin with, and then you go on to your ironing technique. So now we have done this side, we're going to fuse onto the next side. Now, if this was just your placemat, how fab is that? You know, you can actually put the cream butterflies in the center, and then you could actually make it up so you had your cream butterfly and then you had your navy as should we do it? We've got time, haven't we, Hayley?
Like a double-sided one, you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, do because you're going to have to put some kind of edge on it, aren't you? You're going to have to put some kind of edge on.
No, we just do a zigzag.
Okay.
We don't. You can turn it through if you want to turn it through. There is a pattern out there that shows you how to do it. Obviously, I can't do it because I haven't got the patterns on my website. But what I was thinking, if I show you quickly, I won't do it today because we want to go on to the gridded stuff. But for example, say we had something like that in the center, and then you added borders, maybe. So you could have something like that and then trim it round to the size and then put a plain blue backing on. And then what you're going to do is make sure that you just do your zigzag all the way around the outside. And you want to go around it two or three times.
Do you want a chance to prep that other side?
Yeah, but what we're going to do is we are going to turn this into a basket. So I'm going to get the other side pressed and then you can come back to me.
Okay, no problem.
Later on.
Go and see if Oh, look, hang on a second. Where's she gone? Anthea! There she is.
Is she there?
What you got, Anthea?
Form.
Oh, you got in our form. There we go.
Yeah. Can I just say, Sasha?
Yeah.
Really enjoyed listening to your demonstration, but I'm a bit different to the rest of you. I use wool, and a dry iron isn't enough for wool. You've got to use steam.
So what you need to do is you need to try and put something over the top, because the last thing you want, especially with the wool, with it being thicker, is if you get damp in our form in the middle of all that wool, it's not going to dry out completely, and then you will get wrinkles if you don't know what people are doing. You do.
Never had a problem with that. It doesn't seem to penetrate through, so we've never had a problem like that. And the other thing that I wanted to say was many years ago when I was at probably the craft store at the time, one of the first times I ever used in our form, and I thought, well, it looks a bit like an ironing board. I did it right onto the desk and I stuck it, and it just goes, comes straight off, and it doesn't even leave a mark.
It's very clever stuff. The
Please
glue
don't
is very
iron things in our form to your desks at home.
No,
Thank you.
don't do it to your best polished table. But the thing is, I have experience of ironing it to a table, and I got away with it. That's what I'm saying.
Excellent. Right.
I did
let's have a
days in carpet, so I shouldn't worry.
look. You stuck it to a days in carpet. Doesn't
Yeah.
We've done
surprise
lots
me.
of stuff in days ins.
And on that note, Anthea.
What happens in a
Oh,
days in stays in a days in.
Days in a
Maria,
days
actually,
in.
before we go back to Anthea, Maria, I did run to the car. I trusted Sasha, and she proved she was capable of that trust. I mean, some days it's debatable, but I have brought back in a load of the battings and waddings and stabilizers that we had on Sewing Street on Friday. So some of those should be perfect for what you're after. We'll let Anthea go. I'll dig them all out, and then I'll show through them so that hopefully you can say, yes, it's that one you need. So, Anthea, are you ready?
Well, we're never ready, but we're as ready as we're going to get. So let's just go for it. Oof. Oof. Pressing that button. Oh, what a thing. So, right. Today I wanted to talk about bags, which has fit perfectly with Sasha and in-our form, because we use oodles of in-our form in our bags. So I've got here in this section, I've got some general tips for bag making, and I've also got some hardware, and I want to ask you all a question, and I'm looking for replies. So please, 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 and replies. So, you know, all this horribleness that's happened through the TV, and we've all ended up making really wonky, bizarre connections that you'd never thought that you would make. And one of the connections that I've made is with Margaret Adams, so M. Adams. And I have here a set of Margaret's bag making rulers and things. Who is interested in buying this kind of stuff? Because we might be able to get this stuff from Margaret and do it through the Sewing Club, through other places and the lot. But I wanted to know, have you heard about it? And what do you think about it? Give me your comments if you do. I'll just run through the stuff before we start the demo. She does rulers in a couple of different lengths, but the thing about Margaret's rulers is the 0 is in the middle. So when you're doing a bag, you can count out from the middle. She's got 2 different lengths of ruler. That's the shorter one. She's also got 2 different sizes of rulers for placing zips, so the center comes out there, and again you've got your 0 in the middle, so you can count out either side. And then she's got we've used this is great for bag corners. Can you see every single corner in different shape? So when you're doing your bag corners, curved corners, perfect. She's got a pokey tool, and she's also got a tool for doing turn clasps on bags. So if you're interested, or you've heard of a stuff before, and you can say you've got experience of using it, please message in, because I think that's a conversation that got some knowledge.
I've got Patricia on Facebook, and she said she'd be interested in the corner one. And Jeanette Chapman, who says, I love Margaret Adams equipment. It's good quality. I have a few of her hardware, but love the clasp template, but missed it on TV.
Yeah. So obviously I'm friendly with Margaret, and our friendship is quite new. And I love her stuff, but I want to know whether you do too. Well, I'm sure you do too, but you know, some reviews is what I'm asking for. So right. Make our way to hardware, but first of all, I thought we'd start with some really, really simple bag making techniques, because I know we've got new people. If at the very least they're sat with Jeanette in the hospital, and you might never have made a bag. So let's have a look at some really, really basic stuff. So bag making. Do you remember when we were at school? You got 2 pieces of fabric, and you put a handle on, and you called it a bag. Let's show you this side. You called it a bag, you put something in it for your mum's Easter present, Mother's Day present, and that was it. Nowadays, we're a little more swish than that. We give them some shape. I've got lots of bags behind, and on my webpage, I've put, there's, I think there's about half a dozen books. This is just 4 of them here, which are all bag making books. If you want to have a better look at any of the bags in particular, comment, and Hayley, if you'd shout out, then I can send Tech Junior to have a look in the boxes and get out what we need. My boxes are all there.
Pixelated, my lovely.
Oh, what can we do?
Yeah.
Mike?
Do you want to try your overhead and see if it's the camera or the stream?
The overhead might be better, and one of the reasons for that is we've put the hard wire into that one because I was going to come to it, so we may have better luck with that one. Do you want to try the overhead, Mike? Right, so I'm stepping over. Are we live on the overhead now? I think we are,
you're
aren't
live
we?
on the overhead now, but you're still a little bit. It's a bit better, but you're still a little bit pixelated. I've got a feeling with all the storms and all the water and the snow that's about, it might be a signal, a Wi-Fi signal issue rather than a camera issue. But we'll plough on.
We've got what we've got. So right, so here, just to get ahead, I've just put 2 pieces of enough together. The beauty of the in-our form is it stands up on its own. Well, it will do once we've got a base in it. And how to give them the square base here at the bottom is we cut out the corners. So I've drawn here some 1.5 inch squares just because it's a small scale. If you're doing a bag pattern, it will probably tell you how big those squares are. And I think usually we're using about 2 inches on a, on like a shopping style tote bag. About 2 inches is the square, but just on this I've cut out and I've drawn on 1.5 inches. So draw it on, get your scissors, cut it out. It's a bit scary. And whatever you do on the outer, you have to do on the lining first. And when we're doing bags, you read through the instructions and it says, right, do the outer, repeat for the lining. Well, if you've never made that bag before, I would actually do the lining first, because if you're going to go wrong on the lining. It's less effort and it's probably cheaper fabric that you've used on the lining. So I've cut my corners out there, and all I'm going to do now, if you watch what I'm doing, I'm making that seam that goes round there, I'm making it flat by pulling it out. It's a bit like a frog, isn't it? And then, push one seam one way and one seam the other way. Do you know, it's much easier when it's got fabric stuck on it. You can put some clips on it if you want to, or you can pin it or whatever you want to do. But put that under your sewing machine and sew across there. I'm just going to sew across. Here we go. I'm using the same 1/4 inch seam. Do you know what? Hang on, it's not going to behave on this small scale. Just give me a sec. The problem with the demos is, in my head, I'm running at about 3 million miles an hour. So and the other ladies will probably back me on this. You're trying to change 3 million miles an hour in your head to just a nice walking place outside your head. And it's easier said than done sometimes, isn't it, Hayley?
Yeah, it's just like when you see ducks swimming. It looks really smooth on the surface.
It is, isn't it? So that's one. When we do live, so every Wednesday at 3 o'clock we do Work It Out Wednesday, which it's primarily Facebook Live, but we also now are doing it on YouTube and when the tech permits, Instagram as well. But we're not that great on Instagram, if I'm totally honest. There's too many restrictions on it.
Yeah, you're limited to
an hour. Yeah. But anyway, Facebook and YouTube is your main ones. And Wednesday at 3 o'clock, Work It Out Wednesday. And the purpose of that, can we go front on, Mike? Hang on, let's just have a look. Oh, no, we're okay there. Can you see from falling over, that is now standing up. So by squaring that bottom off, let's have a look underneath. There you go. it will now stand up. And that's the difference in squaring off the bottoms. Now, if you're terrified and you want to leave that piece of fabric on and not cut it off, you can just match your seams up. Just get your, that's the side seam and the bottom seam to match. And, you know, you've got to feel about, sew across and leave it on if you're terrified. But once you've done it a couple of times, you won't be terrified. And I mean, the bag, when you're following a bag pattern, it's going to be different. I'm just whacking two pieces together here. Now, lots of people will say, oh, I don't want a bag like that, because anybody walking past can go in and get my purse out. So there's loads of ways around that. We've got the magnetic bag fastener in the bundle. We've got turn clasps in the bundle, and we've got a fancy one in the bundle as well. Let me show you this. I like this a lot. Can you see you've got what's it called? What's its proper name? A snap hook.
They're quite good for handles as well, aren't they? They're like
they are
big lobster clasp, aren't they?
Yeah, in fact, if I put it on here, you might see it better. Now, in the bundle, the colours are just, you know, random. If when you order, you want a particular colour all the way through, do put that in the comments, and as long as we can, we will. Obviously, the more people that buy them and the stock reduces, that will alter. But if we can, we will. So there's, you know, this gold, silver, brass, and then this is, I don't know what you call it, it's like black look, is that one, like a black metal look, which is quite attractive.
Oh, it's like
so this one here,
I think it's called.
Yeah, this one here, as Hay said, will do the sides, but I'm just talking about the fastening at the minute. And I've got, in fact, go back on here, Anthea, a D-ring there. All you can do is just click them. Which way do we go? Hang on, click them together. And that makes a really trendy fastener. So you would just fasten both sides to your bag. Now, the way that we're going to fasten that, and we'll do it for the side bits as well. I'm kind of doing a Frankenstein is what I'm doing at the moment. We've got the webbing. Now you can make your own webbing, well, not webbing, but straps, lengths, whatever, by getting a wider piece and folding the raw edges to the middle and joining it. But the webbing is actually really good because it doesn't fray. And I think there's, I mean, I can't tell you how much weight it would hold, but certainly anything I put in my bag. And all you would do is thread the webbing through one half, bring it back and sew it down. Now, you'll want to turn the end under and neaten it, of course you will. And also I would sew across that part there. And then once it's sewn across at the end, that can't move anywhere. So that's a natty little way. If you do it the right, you know, get it the right way up, it doesn't show. Come closer to the camera. Of doing like a trendy little snap hook. Now, as Hayley said, these snap hooks, they're what you may want on the side of your bag. This bag's got handles on the front, but I'll show you on here anyway. So you could use your webbing, go through, turn your...
So, for example,
you know,
if you wanted to have both handles, because you've got the kind of hand-holding handles there, but maybe you wanted to put a strap on that could go over the shoulder. Yeah. So you'd maybe put that on the side.
It's horses for courses. What I'm doing right now is a Frankenstein. No, I wouldn't use these on a bag at the front. And I can turn around and rummage one off the shelf, but it's not necessary for this. So we'll just have it like that for the sec. So you would put your webbing or your homemade one in matching fabric, whichever, through there. Catch this between your layers, so it wouldn't be seen necessarily. You can have it on view if you want, but you can catch it through your layers, and then your handle, this part, and it just looks quite professional. You would come down, oops, where's my D-ring gone? You'd come down off your handle, and your handle, oops, your handle would end in one of these, and then you can clip the two together. Yeah, so that's how you would use them on the side of the bag. So whether you're using a webbing that you've pre-purchased, which is quite nice actually. If you Google bags, you'll see more and more people using the webbing idea as straps. So that's really nice way to use them. And it's a really nice way to get to take what is, I'm going to call it a homemade bag, but actually it is a handmade bag because it's better than that. Just to lift your work up into the next echelon of bag making. Now, you're going to get one of those in your bundle. If you want more than one, you could get 2 bundles, or if you want to put a message in, I can arrange to bill you afterwards and put an extra one of those in. I'm making this up as I go along, you can tell, can't you? These are going to be dispatched direct from Empress.
Whoever packs the orders will be thrilled with you, with making all these promises that somebody else has to cash.
Yeah, it's quite good, is this, isn't it? Maybe I should be a demonstrator for everyone. I could, like, sales would go through the roof, tempers would frame, it'd be, yeah. And so that's your snap hook. It's a really, I just think that is so stylish. It looks great on the front. Even on the packet, they've used it on the front of a bag. It just looks fab. So your D-rings and snap hooks, you would connect in the same way, either using purchased webbing, you're going to get 2.5 meters in the bundle, or you could make your own, or you could do a combination. You could use one thing for one thing and another thing for another thing. Now, also in these bundles, we've got base nails, and we've got the turn clasp, and we've got magnetic bag fasteners. And if I can just lay my hands on, so there we go, turn clasp. So that's the front of the handbag in a way, it turns to unhitch it, the base nails and the magnetic fastener. I was looking the other night, just a sec, I put it in my box here, I think. Right, now I don't want to be disparaging anybody who sells or has bought cheaper bag fasteners, because I've done it myself, I stock them myself and all the rest of it. So I don't want to be like rude to anybody doing that. But this stuff here is Prim. And I was comparing these for the first time ever on Friday. So this is a Prim magnetic bag fastener, and this is a cheaper version. They both look exactly the same. Because I was thinking, why would you pay more? The Prim one is £4.20. Yeah, £4.20 for the Prim one. And when you get in this sort, you might be paying half that price. And I was thinking, why would you? Why would you do it? Because I'm like quite thrifty with the stuff I do. So I thought, bit like the Witch Guide, let's have a look. So you've got your washers, which are for all intents and purposes the same. The Prim one looks a little bit bigger than the cheaper one. I don't think that really affects my opinion, but so that's that part. And then you've got your, oops, hang on, prise this apart. You've got, yeah.
I've got a question from Pen Hewitt.
Okay.
What size are
okay,
the
hi Pen.
magnetic clasps?
Pardon?
What size are the magnetic clasps?
Let's see if it says it on the packet. They are 19 mils. Is that the right way around? 19
yes,
mils there.
That's the right way around. You're good.
Yeah. So, sorry, the delay on the iPad means I'd have to stand there for 10 seconds and wait till everyone catches up so I can have a look. Right, so the other parts you've got, as a bag fastener, you've got, for obvious reasons, you've got male and female. One's got a sticky out bit, one's got a sticky in bit. So your female is the sticky in bit, the sticky out bit is the male. Right. I don't think, looking at this, that there's much difference that you can compare. The Prim one is neater. It's a bit finer. It's a smidgen narrower, but nothing that you would really tell. But where this comes into its own, look at the female part. So identical to look at on the front, but look at them from the side. Look how slim that Prim one is. That is going to give you such a level of professionalism. There's nothing wrong with this one. I use it myself. But this one, you know, if you want that extra level of finesse, there is no doubt about it. And then the big test is, let's put them together. Now, the cheaper one, that is a really good magnet. And I'm pulling it apart. and that is, it's a good strong magnet. I put hand cream on this morning, so we're not quite as efficient as we would. That is really good. The Prim one, when I put this together, that is solid. That is absolutely, I'm just, my hands aren't slipping. I'm pulling it a little bit, you know. Obviously, when you've got the fabric of your bag, it's going to be a bit easier. But that magnet is massively stronger than the cheaper one. So there's nothing wrong with the cheaper one. I use it. But the Prim one, we've just lifted our work into a whole new dimension. So I think in many ways,
with that in mind, Anthea,
yeah,
would you advise putting anything behind those clips rather than just the fabric itself? Because obviously you use slightly heavier stuff, you use wool, but especially if you were doing
right.
something
Well,
that
we
was
do
maybe...
anyway. Let me just switch to the bag that I've put somewhere. So on here, I've used, and it's one of the cheaper ones, magnetic fastener. Now the female part we've put here, and I'm not sure if you can see, there's a square stitched around it, and that's because behind there we've put
just a little shadow, I think.
Yeah, there's a piece of wadding stitched behind there, and that's on any magnetic bag fastener, because what's going to happen is the magnets are strong, and the action of repeated, you know, the repeated action of this, if it's going to wear and tear, it's going to be here and here. Now, on the flap here, we were just going through, we will go into the actual mechanics of how it works in a minute. We were just going through the lining fabric, which is why there's a layer. I'll just call it stabilizer. That can be anything. Anything that's going to help with that strength will work there. It's only on the lining fabric, because if we went all the way through, you would be coming out of the decorated front. And that's something that you don't want to do. I mean, you might do. You might want to come through and have a decorative patch on there. But for this particular design, that's not something that you would be encouraging. On the other half, we've gone in through the good fabric, and you're using the inner form in there. That's helping. So it's not as important on this one, because your feet have gone all the way through 2 layers already, so you can get away with it there. But certainly here you can see we've stabilized it. Right, now how you use these things, they are really, really easy. And the magnetic bag fastener and the base nails all work in the same way. In fact, let me get the base nails out. So the purpose of the base nails, I'm going to tell you about base nails before I show you how to do the fastener. The purpose of the base nails, it's a funny name for a foot, I always think, because a nail reminds me of a hobnail boot. Which I suppose could be it, couldn't it, Hayley?
They're quite similar to the, you know, remember the little gold and silver brads you used to get that went through paper and then butterflied out of the back?
Yeah.
To hold bits of paper.
They are.
They're very similar to that, aren't they? But bigger.
They are, because that's going to open when we're using it. Can you see there how Hayley just described it? Yeah. In fact, if I put it back on the white, you might see it better. Oops, let's just have one of them. Never work with children, animals, and circular things. Things spin. Blooming thing. So you can see it's got legs that open, okay? And your base nails, if you've got a really huge bag, unless it's incredibly rigid, you're never going to keep the center from going on the floor. But if you've got just a little bag, it might make little stable feet. It's about lifting your work into that next level of professionalism. So for the base nails, I've just marked, and there's, if you're stuck, because once we've done this session and you're thinking, oh God, what she said? Well, I'm not saying specifics deliberately. There's YouTube demonstrations for the base nails and the bag fasteners all over the place that you can go into. But just for today, I've just used my ruler to mark on some dots on here. Lift it up. And that's where the base nails will be positioned You've got to mind your seam allowance. I just positioned these. I didn't think about how
So,
far in or out or anything.
Would you put those in before you sewed your bag together, or would you put them in after you sewed your bag together?
I think I'd want the base in, but I think all patterns are different. All creators write the patterns differently, and we're aiming for like a generic instruction here, which is why it says I am remaining a little bit vague. So if you were buying a pattern off me and I was using base nails, I would be telling you exactly what point I was putting them in, and I would be telling you how to do it. But then the next person may write their pattern in a very different way from me. So let's just keep it generic for the moment. But whether you're using the magnetic bag fastener or whether you're using the base nails, the way to apply them is exactly the same. So on each, you've got a washer there. You might think, the first time I think I ever opened one of these packets, I thought, what's that rubbish they've left in? Because you haven't got a clue the first time. So what it is, it's the washer that's going to go on the back, and it's got in it a hole and 2 lines. Now the hole, I'm just coming back up here, where I've drawn the dots in the corner, the hole, and you can see on this example, I've gone way too close to the corner. I should probably be somewhere out here. The hole on the washer covers the hole there, and then let me come into the middle. Oops, would make it easier. The hole in the middle you put on your spot, and then the lines at the side you would draw your lines. Yeah, so we've just drawn 2 lines. I'll just grab a pin, and then the pin I'm going to use as a little insurance policy so that I aren't getting too far. I'm going to put a pin across the top of the lines there.
So,
yeah.
What I'm seeing here is the same way as you would do with buttonholes.
Yeah. With what? Sorry.
With buttonholes, so you don't
buttonholes. Right.
far.
I'm not a buttonhole queen, Hayley.
Oh, okay.
I think I ever managed to do one successful one on my sewing machine. Then I couldn't remember how I'd done it.
Once you get there, you love it.
I know.
What Anthony's doing is just very similar technique to when maybe you made a shirt and you're seam ripping those buttonholes, and you want to make sure you don't go through that top bit of stitching.
Yeah. Right.
It's exactly the same technique she's using here.
Okay. So I've drawn my lines there, and the purpose of the lines is these legs on this magnetic fastener come up. Sorry, I'm trying to get the distance so that it's not too blurred. The legs here, I'm going to cut holes there for them to go in. And I know how wide they are because the washer is giving me that information. So are we all at the same speed? Yep. Right, I've put the pin in so that when I use my seam ripper and I go up that hole, just a tiny little rip, you've barely even cutting, but I can't go whoosh all the way up and just cut a big slash, because that pin is going to help me. Now, I once did this demonstration and my pin flew out and I went all the way up. So you're not going to use it as being an absolute lifesaver, but it's just better than nothing. Yep. So I've cut the holes there, put the legs of the fastener through, and you see them pop through there. We'll put a washer on, and then you can fold these inwards. Oops. There you go. And that's another thing about the Prim. They're a bit stronger. So I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to use my seam ripper just to help me just press that over.
While you're just pressing those over, we've got a message in from Janet Earl with a top tip
hi, Janet.
For the backs of those prongs that you've just put through.
Okay,
says,
so
I try and place a piece of plastic packaging acetate with a bit of wadding on top of the prongs to save them coming through the fabric. I'm assuming on the lining of whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can use all sorts. But that's a really good idea, Janet. Yeah. So it depends what you're doing. I mean, the bag that I showed you before, we used wadding. These legs here, I've just folded into the middle. Now we've all got these green mats or whatever colour you're using. If that's not perfectly flat. If your fingers aren't strong enough, just put it there and press it onto your mat. And there I've got a really tight fix. Can you see? You can't see down that. It's nice and close. Yep. So just by pressing that on, I think you've got a mug or a rolling pin or anything that you can use just to help you press that down. Now your other half, on your lap, come down. There's no easy way really to find where that is. So just get your pen and fertle about inside and then find a place, just put a mark on, put a dot on, and then you're off again because you've got your dot to go on. You can draw your lines in and you can repeat, put your second one on, and that is your perfect closure on your bag. Now I'm going to just do a little confessional here. Where's that bag gone that I had now? This one here.
I would say one more difference between the prim ones and the cheaper ones is sometimes the metal that you get for the cheaper ones, especially for the little washers, you can obviously see it's been printed as an old like soft drinks can or something like that, and there's all sorts of writing on them.
Definitely,
you never see it because it's always on the inside, but you don't get
as
that
long as it does the
one.
job, we're not bothered. But it was only on Friday, for the very first time, that I compared a prim one to one of the cheaper ones that I've always used. And having seen the prim one, I'm like, you know what? I'm a convert. I'm an absolute convert. And you don't know this stuff till you try it. It is so much sleeker, nicer, smoother. It's going to give me a lot better thing. Now, I just showed you on there about putting your second side on and get it to meet, but I'm going to do a confessional. On this bag here, there's a mark there. It's only a friction pen mark where I was going to put that, but when I actually came to it, my mark was in the wrong place, so I moved it. I didn't cut there, I just moved it. So as long as you've used a removable pen, I don't think it matters. You can, it's up to you. It's your project, and you're just doing the very best that you can do. And this stuff here, the prim stuff, it is really about lifting your work up into the next level of bag making. So if you're interested in the prim stuff, you've got 5 different things. You've got magnetic clasp, you've got turn clasp, which do YouTube that. I don't want to spend ages starting on that one now. You've got your, it's out of the packet, your snap hook. Where are we? Magnetic bag fastener, turn clasp, snap hook, D-rings and base nails. They're here. So you've got a good bundle with 2.5 meters of black web, and the size is it 25 or 28 mils, whatever size it is, 25 mil. We've selected especially so that it fits in these products here. So it all goes together. In the comments, if you're bothered about colour or anything, do comment. If we can, we will. But as I say, if we're getting down to the bottom of the box, we've got what we've got. So we guarantee that things are going to be all the same colour. But feel very welcome to put it in. And these will be dispatched from Empress Mills. So right. How are we doing for time, Hayley?
We'll grab everybody together again. We've got some time at the end,
so
if you want to do an extra, we'll get around everybody.
I've got another little one there, but I'm kind of changing tack and going back to fabric.
Right.
But so let's let somebody else have a and see how we are for time.
We'll put everybody together. We've always got plenty of time. I mean, we'll never cut it off at 5 o'clock, so it's fine.
No, we're fine. If we do it, we do it. If we don't, we don't. But it was just going to be on zips at the top.
Excellent.
So
I hope together. So yes, I think definitely we've got some really positive comments in the Facebook chat.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. So I know it's going to be Maria next. I mean, we're never on time. I mean, I know Emma does me a lovely running order every week, but we very rarely make it to that on time. It just doesn't happen. There's no point though, because if somebody's, there's questions and there's demos going on, I'm not going to cut it short, so it's fine. So I am gonna. Sasha appears to be very busy, Oh, you're making your other side?
No, I'm making the next sample after this sample.
Oh, okay. We'll come to that.
I
Next.
know, look at me.
I know. Oh, like prepped ahead of time. I love it. Right. Well, I'll switch and have a very quick chat with Maria, and then we'll have a look at a couple of the different battings / waddings that are maybe useful with her stuff. And if you guys up the top there will attest. Bosal is fantastic stuff, but it doesn't always agree with some of the more entry level machines. So
do you know what advice I would give, Hayley?
Mm-hmm.
Increase your stitch length. That'll make it a bit easier. And hang on a sec. Just give a sec. If you join your outer fabric and your inner form together, you've got your seam allowance. Fold your seam allowance down and then just cut your inner form away from the seam, and that will help you.
But also, Hayley, can I just say, it's like I was saying earlier, in our form is a little bit spenny at the moment. You know, it is.
Yeah, it's not
a
cheap.
Premium price point, and so if you wanted to go for something stiffer, you've got your stiff nut, and you've got things that do the same sort of thing but at a more reasonable costing. So maybe it's something that you just can't justify paying at the moment, because we're all on a bit of a budget, and I don't know whether you've got any of that sort of stuff to hand, Hayley.
As I went to the car in your in your lovely demo, then yes, I have. So what I'll do is I will switch over. We'll speak to Maria and we'll work out what bits would work for hers. And then when we all come back together, I'll grab the super stiff, which for bags and things like that is an alternative, because either some machines just don't like it and won't get on with it, and then there are and it is usually the kind of the more entry level machines, but
it's like the
£100,
isn't it? It's like the £150 machines. They don't for some reason like it,
and if that's what your budget allows, then
that's
fine, that's what you have to work with. It's all horses for courses. So let me go and grab Maria. We'll have a quick chat with her, and we'll see which ones will work for you. So Maria, you're back in the room, right? So you said that, because there was a lot of people asking about, did you put any interfacing, did you put any kind of tearaway stabilizer or anything on the back? And you said that you either used quite a fine batting or wadding, or you used possibly like a tearaway stabilizer. First of all, tell me why that is, and then what I will do is I will show these guys what options we have. I'll just mute Sasha because I can hear her banging around. Yes, we can hear you banging around, Sasha. And then I'll quickly show them the options, and then you can get into your demos, because I know you've got your butterfly kits and your roundel kit still to show us.
Yeah, do the roundels, But basically, the reason why I use it, if it depends on what you're doing and how much stitching you're doing. If you're using metal thread, it's quite a heavy thread on a fine cotton, so you do need something to stabilize the back. So I use a very fine, like tearaway wadding, or if I'm going to probably make a box lid, for example, you just want something a bit more thicker, a bit more like a wadding, so it's like a padding as well. Okay. So it all depends, but you don't want anything as thick as making bags or that sort of thickness.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show the ones that I've got that I think are kind of in the ballpark for what you're after, and then you can advise further from there. So what I have is our what we affectionately call the kitchen roll and the toilet roll, which are great for smaller projects like you've got there, with maybe you don't need like 1.5 meters of it. You only need a smaller bit to go on the back. So this is quite nice and thin. It's 100% polyester, and it's a needle felted construction, which means needles pass through it so easily. And this one is our super slim. It's 150 GSM, so it's kind of not so thick that it would be make your product bulky, but then it's kind of nice and light, so it's going to, you know, give you a little bit of bounce to it. So that's one. It's available in a variety of sizes. That's the 10-inch one, and there's 5 meters on that, and it's not just buying a bit of it, you're getting the whole roll. There is a 5-inch one as well. These are all available on our website. QR code's up there, and the website is craftyourselfsilly.com. You'll find everything on there. That's the 5-inch one. So those smaller roundels that you've got would probably fit perfectly on that, and especially if you are doing smaller pieces, then that's a really nice option, so it's not taking up your whole room while you're doing it. And then the other one I've got is this one here. So this one is your traditional tearaway stabilizer that you would maybe use for things like machine embroidery, and if you're doing some free motion but you don't want the bulk added onto it. So there's that option as well. That one is 47 centimeters wide, and that one's a 10-meter roll. So that one's an awful lot of stabilizer. That will probably see you through your entire lifetime of stitching.
No, I think it's all good. It's really good because I mean things like my fabric panels, you'd probably need the wider length. Because if you were doing things like
we've
cushions,
got bigger and smaller widths of all of them,
free
but we do
motion
tend
stitching,
to cut them on that smaller roll, so they're just a bit more handleable.
That's right. Yeah.
But, yeah, you've got demos to do. I think, which one are we going for next? Are we going?
We're actually going for. Well, they've got the roundels.
Oh, we're going for the roundels next. Perfect.
There is again 4 in the collection. So we've got the Sophia. I think I've only got 2 left of those ones. Annabella, Catherine, and Elizabeth. So I thought what I'd do is maybe demo the Elizabeth one. They all come pre-printed on cotton, because that's what I'm saying. It's such a fine cotton, that one. So a stabilizer might be a good idea on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your threads and your needles.
And how wide is that roundel? What's the diameter on it?
It's 6 by 6, 6 inches by 6 inches.
And the design in the middle, probably.
Yeah. So I actually made a box lid with that one.
Okay.
A nice round box lid, which was really pretty.
So if you're wanting to cover the whole space, then you're probably looking at something like the 10-inch roll.
Yeah.
If you're just looking to cut the roundel out in its own right, then you could probably get away with a 5-inch and then cut away the excess.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy all 4 roundels, then obviously you can place them all on there. Maybe you can stitch into them, you know. So it actually depends on how big your hoop is, well.
Yeah.
So if you can get a nice 6-inch hoop, that'll be fine with that.
Okay.
Because that's another thing you've got to think about, is actually using the hoop with the. It's got to be fine enough for the hoop to go over as well.
Yeah. Well, any of those options that I showed you, you'd be absolutely fine with that. So I shall let you crack on and do those.
Right.
And, do you want to give the prices for those kits out before you start?
Oh yeah, they're all $19.99 again. It's all the same price. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just going to share. I've actually managed to get closer. Right. So it's even closer. So what we're going to do is we're looking at the chipping. You know, the metal threads we were talking about earlier, which come on a reel. You can see that are actually the red and the gold for this one, and I've actually chipped some of the pieces into little bugle beads. They're like bugle beads. Then what I'm going to do is just thread them on. You just do one at a time. You bring up the needle first through the fabric. This is just using a double threaded needle and fine cotton. It's Gutermann, which again I find it quite a strong one to use. Then we're going to thread on just trying to get one of them.
So what type of needle are you using there?
These are sharps. I find the sharp needles are really good because you've got to have it fine enough to actually have the actual sharps are good because they're fine, but also to actually thread your pieces on. So I'm just gonna. Sorry, I had a bit of thread into my needle, so it wasn't really going on then. Yeah, so
what,
basically they're short.
can you just hold that little tray down? Look, that's perfect, so people can see what you're doing.
Can you
That's
see?
perfect.
So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just literally going to thread them on into there. So just get it in there. So it's actually onto the needle. You thread it all the way through. I hold it to the base and I literally want to fill the area. This area's been filled already, and you're literally just going to, as if you're beading, to fill the area. See if you can see that. This is actually satin stitch with the normal thread, and then chain stitch. And again, in the pattern, it's actually got an instructions. We've got like a chart in there, and also the stitch guide. So you can have, again, I've got the stitch guide in all those kits. So I've just got a red one this time. And you're literally just going to go up to the gold one, just place it on there. So all you're doing really is you're filling in that area at random stitching. And this is what you're doing with the chipping. It's called chipping in gold work terms, but it's like beading. So this one's a 1 millimeter thickness as well. So it's actually quite a good one. It's good. It's got a good little hollow hole in there to actually get your needle through.
And about how many of these little chips would you put on to a design?
Yeah, in the kits they come as a length, and there's about 12 inches to 15 inches lengths, and you only need about half a dozen probably for a little area like this. It depends on the areas that you're working in, but this, I've only cut about half a dozen at the moment, and I think I'd say about 20 pieces, probably.
Would you traditionally use them as like a border, or would you use them as a filling piece? What?
Yeah, you can use them as borders. So there is some areas which are longer, which you can use as the border. And then there also is a filler. I call it like a filling area.
Yeah.
So it's both really. Yeah, you can use them both. They're quite versatile. They're sort of like a mixture of both. I never ever use longer than 2 inches long because it just looks messy. Because as you're couching over it, you can see the marks where the needle goes, and it doesn't give you a smooth finish. If you wanted a smooth finish, you'd be using a wire, which is more rigid. So these are lovely because they're quite flexible to use and fill in.
Do you kind of cut at a time? Would you cut loads all at once, or do you just cut a few at a time?
Yeah, I would just cut a few at a time because again, it's more saving your thread lengths really, because there's some bits that you probably need more of and other bits you'll probably need less of. So I wouldn't cut it all into little bits, not unless you really need them. But already you can see where it's starting to fill. So
yeah,
I'll just say,
see those filling. It's filling quite quickly,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not too hard. So I'll just do one more piece and then I'll show you the wire as well. All the kits come the same. You chip in, you've got the embroidery, and also you've got the wire as well. And also when you're cutting your wire, you just need a good pair of scissors that I've got serrated, like a bit of serration, but keep them for the metal. I keep them just for your threads.
Right, yes, don't
yeah.
Don't be cutting the metal with them and then cutting your
Yeah, don't cut your fabric with them because you'll just blunt them.
Right.
So that's that bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to put the needle there, and I'm just going to show you some wires as well.
Okay, and do you always use all three techniques on each project, or are there some projects that just use one or two?
Yeah, I use the same technique. So you're using chipping on your pearl wire, a bit of embroidery, and then you've got your wire work as well. So the wire work is actually a bit more rigid. It's actually not so flexible. And when you're cutting your wire, you only need half the length you need. So I'm going to do that little petal. So I only need roughly about that much. It depends on the projects you do. Can you cut it? And then you hold each end and gradually just pull it to the full length. Can you see already how much it's unwound, sort of twisted? You can see the end has still not been twisted there, but if I pull it, I can pull it as long as I want, as short as I want. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to stitch this, couch this onto the fabric as well. So this will be the surrounding of your petals. I'll pull it over slightly.
And how long does it take, do you think, to, if you were just going to sit down and do the whole thing, how long do you think it would take to finish one of these?
It depends on how long you're going to work on it. I mean, I do it a couple of hours and then I stop. I'd never do the whole thing in one go. I'd say a couple of evenings, maybe a couple of hours a night, you know, or just do one section and then finish and then do another section. The embroidery doesn't take too long. And this doesn't take too long, really, as long as you know how you're doing it. And, you know, once you know what you're doing and how the threads work, it's basically easy to do from there. So, yeah, you can already see that I've already half. So what I'm doing is edging that petal.
And then once you've completed the project, if you weren't going to leave it in a hoop, what kind of things could you turn it into?
Well, this one was a box lid, so I actually made this into a whole box lid, which is really lovely. I'll try and find the sample before we finish. I've got the sample in the box somewhere. The other thing is you can make it into a pin cushion or a cushion cover, just in the centre, or you could just keep it in your hoop and have it as a hanging decoration. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it with my fingers, so then you can sort of like just follow the line around the edge. So you do all your embroidery first, because it's nice and neat then. If I embroidered after I've done this, you know, if I did it that way round, then it would be a bit messy because you wouldn't be able to get under the edge. Yeah. Oh, was it really? Oh, I was just saying, if you were embroidering, another thing, a nice thing about this as well, this is so manipulative. So supposing you think I haven't gone on my line, you can use the scissors just to bend it into the area you want it. So that'll be like your first petal. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. But the other thing as well, I was just saying about do the embroidery first. Always do the embroidery first, because otherwise you'll find that the metal threads can then catch onto the metal threads, and you may end up, you know, making a mess sort of thing. So we're nearly there. That's the end. And to secure it on the back, you turn it over and just put it through a few times. Yes. Right. Oh, wow. It looks like a bit of bondage.
Not anymore, I haven't. Oh, Tech's gone for a comfort break. We're okay now, I think. Some of it, yeah. I was deep in concentration.
I was just going to say she's got a bondage, you know, the tape that.
Oh dear, dearie
It's
me.
my Frankenstein bag.
Just, oh, it's a shame we didn't need face masks again. You would have been away.
I could put some eyes on.
I'm so
Can't
glad.
hear you. Apparently, Hayley, they can't hear you.
That's my fault because I pressed everybody else's buttons, but I didn't press mine.
I love Sarah. Hayley, unmute, please. They're getting used
I know,
to it
and
now.
I've just called on there for it as well. Right, so I did have a few comments in the middle of that, so I'm going to just pop back through them and sort any other business that's there. We did Jane Earl about the prongs coming through the back of the fabric. Yes. And Jeanette got a set of foam from C&C as a big bundle, so she's got loads. Will I be getting... yes, so on Sewing Street on Friday, we had some ruler grips on there. Yes, they will, this for Sarah, yes, they will be going back onto our website, or they will be going onto our website, but I need to check how many I've got left, because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the stocks on Sewing Street seem to be quite flexible, no matter what number you give them.
Yeah, I have that problem as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, before we, because I don't want to oversell anything, so we're gonna just wait until they're done, and then we'll get that sorted out. Anne-Marie says she has half a metre of in-our form, and she's only used a bit. The price point is pricey. She's been using, where has it gone? Down here. Ooh. There you go. That's the super stiff. Oh, it's got fluff on the end. Let's get rid of that. Fluffless. There we go. That's what Sasha was on about. It's our super stiff batting. As you can see, kind of like holds its own shape. That's a 300 GSM. It's the same construction as the other one. It's a needle felted one. So if you have got one of those entry-level machines that struggles with in-our form, or it is literally just you're looking for a cheaper alternative, then that is now back on our website. We didn't have it for a couple of months just because we were waiting to find out what was going on with, moving from one place to another. And when we have to buy it in, we have to buy it in huge quantities. So we were just hanging off to see where the money was coming from before we committed to that. That's Sarah going, she'll hold off on ordering. Let me have a look. Blah, blah, blah. Hayley, unmute, please. I'm unmuted. We're good. Hayley, unmute. Right, brilliant. That's most of the other comments.
The other thing, Hayley, is don't be put off by the price because it's cheaper, because
it's cheaper because we can whatever we buy it in at, we'll work it out and upscale it from there. What we don't do is put it in competition with Bozo at that higher price point and scoop off a load of money from it, because everybody needs bits at different
Bozo is Bozo, Prim is Prim. You do have these other makes that are higher price pointed. The technology that goes into the inner form, etc. I get all of that, but just because Hayley's isn't a cheaper price point, it doesn't mean that it's full of scrim. What I will say is, with a lot of cheaper products that you can get, there's a lot of scrim in there, and we don't want that. We don't want that scrim. We don't want it made up with bits of MDF and chip-ins and everything else. And that's why you have to be very careful when you're buying certain waddings that have scrim in, but you do want those needle punched, because that is the important wording, needle punch, because then it is actually held together, because those needles are going in and out. There's not all those nasties that are in there to hold it together. So, I've been using a lot of Hayley's products now for a long time, and they're brilliant. So there you go, Hayley.
Thanks. That's your favourite one, I know. I think I only sent you the 5 meter ones. That's a 20 meter one. So that's that same interfacing we were talking about with Maria. It is 2.5 inches and it is the 150 GSM. But if you were looking to do general rugs, like it's a shame you've just posted it.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Fine.
You can still send one out. There's plenty that I can be doing at the moment.
All right, I'll send you one.
Yeah, it is very, very, yeah, I have to be very careful what I say because obviously your Bozel hat and my
Yes.
other hat. But it is very, very competitive, and I think nowadays we have to sort of look at that.
Yeah, and you know, it's horses for courses. It's the right tool for the right job, and you know,
Yeah.
there's choices for everybody for everything these days. So, Sasha,
There it exactly.
are
Sorry,
you
I've got
ready?
a runny nose.
Do you need a minute? Are you all right?
Well, if I'm getting Lily's cold, I'm going to yeah, that'll just finish off my week. To be quite honest, but no, I am
What
fine.
are you
I'm not...
sticking, Anthea? What are you sticking, my love?
Me?
Yeah,
we can hear you sticking.
I'm being thrifty.
Are you So if you get the ones that Anthea has stuck back together,
Oh,
you
good.
I am,
hear that
because,
she's done it.
well, I've only used one out of there, and it's a waste. I'm
course it is.
sticking the lid back on before they go everywhere, because I know my limitations.
All right,
That's it.
Sasha, then, are you ready to finish off your mat?
I am ready to finish off the mat, and then I have got another sample.
Okay,
is that
let's
okay?
go for it then.
Quickly, so we're
Yeah,
going to do this quick.
Time-wise, we're fine. We can go because I know, Maria, you've got one more as well, haven't you? Yeah. Okay, no problem. And Anthea, have you
Very
got one more?
unlike me to have 3 bits that I can be doing. You know, it's very, very unlike me.
I'll work it out with the others. Don't worry, you crash on.
That's all right, because this part we are not going to be doing the zigzag all around this. You
both
guys
got an
know how
extra
to do
demo?
a
Just
zigzag,
nod
and if
for
you
me.
don't, we can look at that on Sasha So's at 6 p.m. on a Sunday.
Anthea,
just getting that in
Have
there.
you got another demo that you want to do?
So, placemat done, and we have done both sides. Now, at this point,
Well,
okay,
as long as
if
it's a
you were
quick
having
one,
it
we'll
as
be
a
fine.
placemat, then you would
And
go all the way
Maria,
around, and you would either add
have you
bias
got another
binding
demo?
or zigzag it or turn it through, or whichever you choose
Maria,
to do.
can you hear me?
We're going to turn
Have
this
you got
into a
another
box
demo that you
and
want to do?
really nice bread
Just
box for the
you've
table.
got your mute on,
So
just
these
either nod or
corners,
those.
we're
Okay,
going to
fine.
chop them off.
It'll have to be a quick one. It'll need
We're
to
going
be
to chop
about
them off.
4 or 5 minutes. Is that okay?
And again, it is just
Perfect. All right, thank
something
you.
that you can do that's a little bit different. And you would actually, once you've cut these corners off, then you would zigzag.
Sorry, you know when I didn't mute myself before?
Yeah.
I should have muted myself then because I was talking to Anthea and to Maria. Luckily, there was no swearing.
We didn't hear you.
Oh, they did. There's
did
lots
they?
saying Hayley can be heard. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
But I mean,
Oh,
there's
well,
a lot of buttons, and you know, I'm just trying to get through as many as I can, and we're just arranging.
Were you talking about me?
No, we were just arranging a couple of extra short demos.
Saying that woman, she comes here, she don't normally be organised, and then she comes here with an extra one. Yeah, I know.
It's all good.
Right, so as you can see, it will sort of look like this, and then we're going to pop that across there, and we're just going to fold to put those creases in like so. And this is as easy as it can get to turn it into a really nice little basket. So that one, it needs to come, because that's the other thing. Sometimes you'll notice that it's not quite. I'm going to take that one down a little bit. Because it's scallops and it's pre-cut, doesn't necessarily mean it's all even, but that one is. So, like so, I think I'll pop some pins in there because you're not going to watch me go round on a zigzag, and plus the other one that I've got to do is, you guys would like to see the other demo as well. So this just shows you what an easy sort of bread basket you can make. And again, it is just putting it through the machine with a zigzag. And because sometimes you don't want it just as a placemat, you want it. There you go. So, oh, let me just plug myself in again. It gets to this time and I have to plug myself in. Sorry. Oh, there we go. That's better. You're all plugged in. And there you go. Look at that. So this would have been all zigzagged, or you can do it as your bias binding or blanket stitch or whatever. But what a beautiful little basket. How fab is that? I'm just going to give that a really nice little inside. You can quilt them before, obviously. So I'm just going to get you so you can actually see that. Can everybody? And as I say, you know, you can have navy, you can have whatever, all different sorts of coloured zigzag. But don't just think it's just placemats that you could place baskets. That's a mix between baskets and placemats. That's a new one. Yeah, really, really sweet. Go on the table, bread basket, perfect.
Do you know what it's called
done.
when you smoosh
So
the words up like that?
that's just a really quick idea of something extra that you can do with the.
Sasha, do you know what
Yes.
it's called when you smoosh the words up like that?
A
It's called
sashism.
No, it's called a portmanteau. There's a word for it.
Oh, is there? I do it a lot, don't I?
You know, like when there's like new couple, like celebrity couples that come out, and it's like, well, this is quite an old reference, but like Bennifer and things like that.
Yeah,
That's a portmanteau. It's smooshing two words together.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, see, it's not just sewing; it is facts as well today.
A place basket. It's quite good, isn't
that's a portmanteau. Well done.
That's what I could actually call it, a place basket.
Absolutely.
But again, you know, Christmas fabrics, I know we've had Christmas, but Easter, things like that, just to go on the table. And again, it's so quick, it's so easy. Honestly, really, really quick, really, really easy. So that's that one. Right, the next one that we're going to have a look at. Now, are you going to be able to see this? So, this is the Bosal 2.5 inch quilters fusible grid. Okay, now what again makes this a little bit different is it's 2.5 inches, so it's great for all of those leftover strips. If you buy lots of those strip sets from Hayley and you get odd bits left, you can chop them all up into 2.5 inches and use them. I also, as you know, have a bit of a charm pack addiction, 5-inch square addiction. So obviously you can use your 5-inch squares, and by using this you can make the quickest, most easiest lap quilts, bag panels, cushion fronts, anything, without having to think about it. Because I wouldn't call it a cheat's way, it's a helper's way. People do call it a cheat's way, but if you're somebody that is just starting out on your sewing journey and you don't quite get your seam allowances quite right, things like that, this is where this comes into its own. So you will see it has that amazing grid to it, 2.5 inches. It's fusible on one side, and what you are going to do is, obviously I've just done a small piece. I have got some 2.5 inch squares, and you just make patterns basically, and you pop it so it's glue side up. Okay, it's glue side up, which means that the fusible is on the top, and you can make names, you can make pixelated pictures, you can make cheats bargello as they call it, you can do watercolor quilts. I really like making pixelated quilts. So basically I would take some alphabets, for example. You can do it, you can do names, there's so many different things that you can use this stuff for. But again, it's another Bosal product. I sell it by the meter, but you can have more than 1 meter.
Can you give the guys the prices for this, please? Because obviously we don't have a proper presenter. So
let me just make sure. So if we go on to sashasews.com, you will find it under the wadding and interfacings, and it's the Bosal 2.5-inch grid, and everything on there is including postage. Okay, guys. So this is £9.50 per meter. Fusible one side. You will find that unlike some others, the blue doesn't run. I know there's been a lot of chat out there about lighter colours, and sometimes the pinks can run, but the dye for the grids doesn't run. And basically, you just make up your picture, and it's a great way of using all of those bits. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Then you're going to take your iron, and again, if I was doing this on my ironing board at home, I would make sure that I've got a cloth over the top, because this is gluey. You do not want this over your iron, okay, especially my very posh iron. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go really, really careful, because you obviously want to see what I'm doing.
And this is another press not wiggle situation, so you don't accidentally wiggle your iron onto the gluey bit.
Exactly. It is definitely a press, not a wiggle at this stage, because also you want to make sure that you're not melting, that you don't want it too hot. So go for like a half temperature. Just dropped out of the Facebook feed. Hold on a second. Why have I dropped out of that? I'm just making sure I've got no questions, but it's all right. I think I'm back on again.
Rosemary's reminded you you've done a sewing machine quilt with the grid stuff.
Yes, I have. Do you want to see that?
And there's a few people saying that they need to head off, but I'm sure they'll catch the rest of it later. Oh, and Sasha's gone.
I'm here. I am here.
Okay.
I am just getting the quilt that Rosemary is talking about.
I mean,
so you have to excuse it because it went to Sewing Street, because we're going to be doing this on Sewing Street. So this is what I did with the grid, which is well done, Rosemary. Thank you for remembering. So that's what I did when I was playing around. See, look, my ladies are good, aren't they? I'm so lucky that I've got them around. And when you are doing this with the sewing machine one, I actually did it in sections. I did it in blocks as well, which is really handy, because obviously you only want to be doing a little bit of fusing at a time, and you don't get in so much of a mess. And then I can take it over to the sewing machine and I can just...
Can I also ask how wide it is? Because obviously you've said you sell it by the meter. What
48 inches wide.
48 inches.
48 inches wide. And you can see where I caught that bit with the glue then. Right. So next thing that we are going to do is we're going to take this over to our sewing machine, or I'm just going to pick my sewing machine up off of the floor. Sorry, bear with. Oh. So,
now, as these sewing machines get better and more advanced, they just get heavier and heavier.
They get heavier. I've done something to my shoulder, something quite bizarre. Don't know what. It's been like it for about 8 weeks now.
Is it? How long ago did you get your new machine? That might be it.
No, it was, I think it was actually setting up Harrogate, but I think I've trapped something and it's just so painful. Right, so what you are going to do now is we're going to stitch, and when we stitch this, we're going to fold it on. So you choose whether you're going to do your horizontal or your vertical lines first, okay? And you're going to fold it on that line, and then you are going to put the line it up with your 1/4 inch foot. I can't get my words out, Hayley. I'm not explaining that very well.
No, I know what you mean, but I will give you a top tip, because we have had a very similar product ourselves. And my best top tip for you is, rather than cut exactly 2.5 inch squares, cut them just a millimetre or so shorter, because then when you make those folds, it'll just like automatically flop into place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been sort of doing them, but no, you are right. I should have said that.
It's all right.
So I'm just going to do these across lines, and basically it's not a. It just means that if you're somebody that isn't as accurate for your stitching or your cutting, it just makes life so much easier. So if you can see on here, you've got that line.
Harder.
Yeah, exactly. And I did it on we did it on Create and Craft, and we actually did a lap quilt with borders and pressed and sewn in like the 50 odd minutes. Janice and I did it, and it was absolutely brilliant. Janice was absolutely gobsmacked that she managed to do it so quickly. So that is. So can you see? You've got those sort of ridges like so. And now you're just going to nip into where the next lines that you're going to do. You're not going to cut your stitches. You're just nipping into it so that it actually makes it a little bit easier when you are folding, like so. And then we're going to go back the other way. And because I've done this so small, you will actually be able to see what this looks like in a sec. So as I say, we cut it in metre pieces, and then it is 48 inches wide, but you can have whatever size you want. So maybe you want, I don't know, 2 meters. As I say, I tend to break my quilt down. If I'm going to be doing, I don't know, say 40 by 40, I would sort of break it down into like 4 squares and then join them together. It just takes the pressure off of you spilling it everywhere when you're transporting it to the iron and things like that. And I've got one more seam to do, like so. And I have got odd packs of 1 inch as well, which I want to get on the website. And the 1 inch one is really effective. Really, really effective, because that makes for brilliant, brilliant pictures. So again, I'm just going to press those seams and make sure that they're all laying nice and flat, like so. And look at that block. How quick and easy is that? It just makes for a really quick project, and especially if you've got, you know, you're against the time, you know, and as I say, use your 5 inch squares, because they are 2.5 inch square. I love it when it's done with the 5 inch squares, but this size is great for, you know, bargelos and things like that. But again, it's on that grid. Really, really easy.
Perfect.
Really, really nice and fast, and you can make some brilliant designs as well if you are into your pixelated quilts, and you can actually transfer photographs into pixelation on the computer. Don't know how it does it, don't know where you feed it in, don't know the buttons you press. I'm not that techie person, but you can transfer things into pixelated pictures. And then you can just make pictures of whatever. So it can be a beach scene, I don't know, or sunset, or just really, really easy round the world quilt, something like that. And it will actually look really, really effective. So yeah, so that's another one to give a go.
Splendid. Let me go and see if I can grab the other guys. I've got them, but they both seem to have muted themselves at the minute, so I'm a little bit nervous. Hey, here we go. Whew. They're back in the room, and they've got sound.
There we go.
I thought you were just staying quiet there to trick me. So, Anthea, you and I have got a bit of admin we need to do.
Okay.
About the retreat.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. So let me just get the information up because I have it on my phone. So the retreat is well, it's four of us. It's you and me, and it's Sarah and Nicola, who I think were on Daisy and Grace, who were on Adam's little Facebook Live this week. So yeah, it's all four of us. One day you get 4 different classes. So I'm going to ask the question, Anthea, but I've got a feeling I won't get an answer to it. Have you decided what project you're doing yet?
Yes.
Oh, no way!
Hayley, I'm struggling to hear you. You've got a bit Norman Collier on me.
I have. Oh, I'm awfully sorry.
Yes, we haven't made the project, but we know what we're doing. So we're going to be doing some form of applique.
That'll do. Some form of applique. Because
form. We're going to be using in our form and appliquing from the back, a bit like foundation piecing. So I'm just looking to see if the project handy. I've got projects all over the place, but anyway, yeah. So I put back.
Perfect. So is that
I'm
like you did the other day with the chicken?
Yeah, but better.
Okay, better.
Yeah, we'll have one that we can do in the session, and then probably another one that people can take home that's more technical.
Yes. So the retreat is on the 12th of April. It's in kind of, I think it's in Stafford kind of way. So we've made one that's fairly central for everybody. If you pop over to, let me see if I can just get the website up for you so you can have a quick look. We've decided what our project's going to be as well.
Oh, what are you doing?
Well, you know our panels that we have with either the rainbow animals or the knitted animals or the stained glass ones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a load of those panels, and I'm going to bring a little unit that we've got that's got one kind of roll of every single colour of our strip rolls. So we're going to make it can either be a cushion or it can be a bag, but we're going to work on borders and different techniques and of how to put those together. So I am going to find, it's the Hawksyard Estate that we're at, and I'm just going to, this is such a noisy keyboard. It really is, but that's fine. I'm going to work with that. Let me just see if I can switch to the web, and there we go. So that's where we're going. Actually, that's Kumabi in the background, but Creative Hideaway was who we're working with, and we are off to the Hawksyard Estate. So where's ours? Oh, ours was right on the front page. There you go. All retreats. There's us, right on the first page. So that is where we are going. You will have classes with White Gecko, with myself at Craft Yourself Silly, with Anthea at Quilting Antics, and Daisy and Grace as well. Anthea, we think you need a smaller logo. Yours is a little bit lost there. But there's some beautiful pictures of. Well, we'll send him another one. Well, I'll fix it for him. Don't you worry. It's fine. We'll sort it. So it's on the 12th. It's a one-day thing. You're going to do all 4 classes, so it works out about, roughly £60 a class. There's a whole list of things that you would need to bring, things like a sewing machine, threads, just the basics generally, basic sewing kits. And if option-wise, you can bring a craft iron as well. There are sewing machines to hire or rent on the day if you want to. And that's if you don't want to bring your own machine with you. Or what you also can do is, if you are bringing your own, there is somebody on site to pat test your machines before we go ahead and use them. So you're getting 4 classes in the day, one from Anthea, one from me, one from Sarah at White Gecko, one from Nicola at Daisy and Grace. And there's also a little kind of pop-up shop from everybody as well. Just checking, that's fine, no more messages. So yes, go and have a look on the Creative Hideaway website. It's creativehideaway.co.uk. Have a look on there, because we do have a kind of beautiful retreat planned. Now, there are a couple of hotels that are close by, because obviously it's a day thing. There's no accommodation booked with it, but if you do want accommodation, then there's like a Premier Inn, there's a Travel Lodge, and there's another hotel quite nearby. If you contact them, they'll be able to give you all those details. So if you are coming from a little bit further afield, it's totally doable for you. And that includes your lunch as well, and unlimited tea and coffee. Who doesn't love unlimited tea and coffee? Right. Me, actually, because I don't drink tea and coffee. Can I have unlimited squash, please? Thank you. Right. We did have a couple. Sasha, you did all of your. Have you done all your demos, my lovely? Nod.
I've done all mine.
Excellent. You can be in charge of messages now.
Thank you.
Anthea and Maria, you both got little ones, which I think everybody heard because I muted everybody but myself. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. I'm just looking at time. If Maria wants to go, mine can wait till next time. I'm not bothered.
No, because I just wanted to show you.
First, Maria.
Okay, I'll switch to Maria. We've got time. We'll be all right. There you go.
That was the box.
Oh, perfect. Where you've added it to the top, so it doesn't just have to be purely decorative, sitting in a hoop. It can be made into a practical object as well.
That's right. And it was just to recap on the other 2 kits.
Yeah.
I haven't actually got any demos on this, but it's the same principle.
Fine then. Just chat.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's just basically showing you the kits that these ones were pre-printed. Get the bits out.
And what's the price on those ones? Because again,
these are the same price, $19.99.
Everything goes through Maria's own website. So if you either use the QR code in the corner there to click through to Old Made New, or you can just go straight to our website, which is oldmadenew.com.
That's it, really. That's all I've got really to say.
Perfect.
But
we've got some Anthea time as well. Just bear with me. I will switch straight to Anthea. Bosh, there you go.
Oh, well.
So now you're panicking, aren't you?
No, I'm now the demonstration queen nowadays. Okay. I'm a reformed character.
Yeah, well, so I mean, at C&C, we all know it was always a little bit on the fly, let's say.
Oh, I just didn't like doing them. So I'm not nervous about demonstrating. I was never nervous about going on the telly. Here I am like the technical one that sorts everything out. Put me in front of the camera and asked me to do a live demo, and I just was like, rubbish. Wasn't even nervous about doing it. I just didn't like doing it. And I can't explain more than that. No. Anyway, so all I wanted to kind of show you was, because we were talking about bags, we've done all the hardware and everything. There's zips. So if you wanted to like close that up with a zip, our little way of doing it's not our way, it's like what people do. Make a zip thing. So here's one that I've kind of prepared earlier. You've got your lining, your good in our form, and your outer fabric here. Put it with the outer fabric to the zip. Wait a minute. Blinking it. Where are we? You can, if you make your little quilt sandwich, pin it on, yeah, and then if you want to test that it's right before you sew it, open it out, and if everything looks in the places it should be, with your lining on the lining side, your outer on the outer side, and your UR foam trapped in the middle, you know you've created it. And then to get it into your bag, all you need to do is you drop this completely sewn piece into your bag, into the hole. But for the purposes of demonstrating, I'll show you it with on the outside. Just line up the raw edges. That's all you need to do. And then get some binding and bind around the top of your bag. So this is, I always use a 2.5 inch binding, which is pressed in half. Put it, all your raw edges together, just like a quilt, put it on, and then over the top, hand stitch it down, and that's going to give you, oops, that's going to give you your, it's very difficult up in the air. No, it's fine. It's fine. We're not going to. But there you go. So that's going to give you a nice round zip. I'm just wondering if I've got a zippy one to hand. I don't think I've got one that I can really just hand on.
Would you just put that on the two sides, or would you kind of square it off so it was attached on all four?
Sorry, your sound just went then.
Would you put it on all four sides, or would you just put it on the two? Because obviously that
no,
sample you had.
I would put it on the two long sides. But what I would have done,
bag would be like
neaten off. Yeah, I would neaten
like
off the edges. Yeah. And whatever pattern you're using, probably going to tell you that. But once you've done that, once you've got that, you can put it inside your bag. Yeah. Put it in the middle, and then use the binding, because you've got all the edges at the top. Use the binding to cover the top, and that's going to give you the zip. And what I like about this zip is you're making that over here completely separate to your bag over there. If I make a fudge of this and I don't like it, you know, it doesn't look right, whatever, I'm not happy with it, I can just dispense with it and I can remake it. I can leave it out if I want to, but I can remake it, or I can decide that I want to do Frankenstein, any of this kind of business instead, because it's not an integral part of the bag. If I make a hash of this, I haven't ruined that. And that's what I quite like about this method of doing zips. So you're just going to make your zip, make it to whatever specification you want, sit it in the top of your bag, bind round the edges. So bind round the edges, and that'll be it in your bag. And you can just, you know, have your security. I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Right, let me grab everybody together, and then we will just get to the stage where we're just signing off. We're more or less run to time today. I'm quite impressed with us, to be honest, because it never happens. It's well, it's always chaos, but it's usually chaos that either massively overruns. But we brought it back in today. Let me just check that I've got no more questions. I don't think we've got actually. I think we're all good. Lots of people saying thank you for a lovely afternoon. Lots of laughy emojis, because, well, that's what we do. Oh, do you know what? We forgot about Sarah. Sarah's over at White Gecko, and she's doing her finish all her projects thing. She's doing like
is it today?
12. Yeah, she's doing like a 12-hour finish off a load of projects thing. I've just seen her because she's just popping up on my list of lives now. So I'll pop across and say hello in a minute. But yes, lots of thank yous from everybody, and lots of people saying they've had a great laugh and learned a lot along the way. So that's exactly what we're here for. So let me see who's on next week. Where's my master? We've got a document now called the master plan. We've got everybody in it. So next week it's
called the what?
It's called the master plan.
Oh, I heard master.
The master plan. Yeah, it's called the master plan. So next week it's Daisy and Grace, White Gecko, and Endless Threads. And this time Gail won't be in Sarah's studio. Gail will be all on her own. So
Woo!
we're excited. Well, she'll probably be nervous, but I'm sure she will be fine. So thank you everybody who's joined us this week. Thank you to my lovely guests who are all there.